Lu Qing observed for a while, and finally headed towards the tallest building at the end of the street. He had already noticed that in this divine soul space, flying was impossible, and one could only move forward by walking. Fortunately, the street wasn't too long, and he quickly arrived before that building. Mission Hall. Looking at the plaque above the building's entrance, Lu Qing knew he had found the right place. Without hesitation, he stepped inside. Inside, there were also many figures busily moving about, but none paid attention to Lu Qing. Of course, this suited him just fine. After taking a brief tour, Lu Qing gradually got a clear understanding of the Mission Hall situation. Simply put, this Mission Hall was the place where the Netherworld Palace issued various missions. Not only were there various assassination missions, but also bounties for seeking certain precious spirit grasses and elixirs, and magical treasure elixirs, among others. It was quite diverse. Among them, just the assassination bounty missions alone were varied and abundant in types. Lu Qing saw that the top-ranked bounties with the highest rewards included the heads of various demon lords of the demon realm among the three major races, the sect masters and clan leaders of the top human forces, and the great demon kings of the demon clan, these top powerhouses. The bounty amounts were even more staggering. Each was estimated to be nearly equivalent to the reserves of a major sect force. Lu Qing even saw a bounty mission concerning himself among them. Chun Qing. Live capture bounty, 100,000 middle-grade spirit stones. 4 direct kill with head as proof. A reward of 50,000 middle-grade spirit stones. Bounty issuer, Gongsu family. Below the mission, there was some introduction about the identity of Chun Qing. Among the information was the fact that during the battle at the Tianshu Divine Mountain, he had slain multiple primordial spirit great powers. When Lu Qing saw the bounty amount for himself, he was somewhat astonished. And this was merely a bounty from the Gongsu family alone. Several other forces, whose primordial spirit great powers he had slain, had also issued bounties. Their bounty amounts varied, but the highest ones compared to the Gongsu family were not less at all. The lowest still amounted to tens of thousands of middle-grade spirit stones, which could be considered a huge fortune. After reading all the bounties concerning himself, even Lu Qing had the impulse to turn himself in and collect these bounties through staging with someone. After all, if he possessed such a large number of spirit stones, not to mention cultivating to the 12th turn of the golden core, even achieving the primordial spirit, it should be enough for him to train for quite some time. Of course, such thoughts only lingered briefly in Lu Qing's mind. Not to mention staging with someone, he even had to be more cautious in concealing his identity. Such a large amount of spirit stones could easily tempt anyone, even those powerful primordial spirit realms who have survived multiple primordial spirit tribulations, into taking action. If his identity were exposed, who knows what kind of old monsters he would attract. After composing himself, Lu Qing continued browsing other missions. One of the reasons he participated in the Netherworld Palace's trials was to take on bounty missions and earn spirit stones. However, he wasn't willing to take on just any mission. He needed to be selective. As he looked further, Lu Qing's gaze suddenly stopped on one of the bounty missions. Songju. For successful slaying, head presented can redeem 20,000 middle-grade spirit stones. Below was a brief introduction of Songju's identity, mentioning that he was the most favored youngest son of the silent annihilation demon Venerable. But the name of the bounty issuer was omitted, listed anonymously. It was unclear whether the bounty issuer was from the human race or a mole within the demon clan. After all, Lu Qing had heard that the demon clan internally was not monolithic either. Some demon lords were fiercely competing with each other. If not for the external threat of the human race, they might have already initiated a great war amongst themselves. However, upon seeing the bounty amount for Songju, Lu Qing's eyes widened suddenly. 20,000 middle-grade spirit stones? What a huge loss this is! Seeing the figure, Lu Qing was immediately annoyed. Previously in the trial space, he fought with Songju and obliterated him completely, leaving not even a trace. Had he known this demon child was so valuable, he would have saved the head for bounty redemption. Unfortunately, there is no medicine for regret in this world. Despite his annoyance, Lu Qing had to accept this reality. Continuing to read further, Lu Qing discovered that the supreme talents among the younger generation of the three major races, including sons of demon lords, sons of demon kings, Taoist saintesses of top sects, and direct lineage Taoists of the 36 upper clans, were also on the bounty list, with handsome rewards. Damn, these three major races claim to be extremely fearful of the Netherworld Palace. Yet in truth, they are all secretly issuing bounties on their enemies' heads through the Netherworld Palace. Lu Qing couldn't help but feel speechless. As he browsed through those bounty missions, Lu Qing suddenly stopped, looking at one mission with a slight narrowing of his eyes. Gong Shulian. 4 successful assassination. Head presented can redeem 10,000 middle-grade spirit stones reward. Seeing this mission, Lu Qing's heart stirred, and he continued to read. The brief introduction below indicated that Gong Shulian was an elder primordial spirit realm of the Gong Shu family, with a cultivation level around the primordial spirit first tribulation. However, more detailed information on Gong Shulian required accepting the mission first before it could be accessed. The Gong Shu family, huh? Lu Qing began to ponder. He and the Gong Shu family had already reached a point of no return. Moreover, the Gong Shu family was now openly offering a bounty for his head in the Netherworld Palace. That being the case, Lu Qing naturally wouldn't be merciful. Killing Gong Shulian would not only weaken the Gong Shu family but also earn him a considerable amount of spirit stones, so why not do it? Thinking of this, Lu Qing immediately made a decision. All right, my first assassination mission will be you. Lu Qing walked over to the counter at the mission hall, but when he expressed his desire to accept the mission to assassinate Gong Shulian, he was told he was not qualified to undertake this task. Not qualified to accept? Lu Qing was astonished. Indeed, Senior. This mission is a Class C mission, but your current assassination level is Class D, so you currently cannot accept this mission. At the counter stood a figure wearing a rabbit mask, whose voice seemed to be female. As she slowly explained, Lu Qing finally understood what was going on. Turns out, as assassins of the Netherworld Palace, there are rules for accepting assassination missions. The various missions released by the Netherworld Palace are classified by levels. There are 4 levels: A, B, C, and D, with A being the highest and D being the lowest. Similarly, assassins of the Netherworld Palace have assassination levels. Assassins of different assassination levels can only accept missions corresponding to their level. This assassination level is unrelated to the assassin's strength. It depends on the number of missions completed and the mission points obtained. For Lu Qing, having just become an assassin for the Netherworld Palace without completing a single mission, he was still a Class D, the lowest level assassin. The mission to assassinate Gong Shulian was a Class C mission, so he naturally couldn't undertake it. I see. How can I raise my assassination level then? Lu Qing inquired. Senior, to raise your assassination level, you must first complete Class D missions. For each Class D mission completed, you'll receive 1 mission point. After earning 10 mission points, you can advance to Class C. However, if you accept a mission and fail to complete it within the specified time, points will be deducted. Through the explanation from the rabbit mask, Lu Qing finally understood the mechanism for upgrading assassination levels. In short, the Netherworld Palace encourages assassins to diligently complete missions to be able to upgrade their assassination levels. And he also obtained an important piece of information from the rabbit mask. That is, once the assassination level reaches Class B or above, one has a chance to apply for the Netherworld Palace's assessment. If you pass the assessment, you can formally join the Netherworld Palace. A-class assassins can apply for an assessment and have a chance to join the Netherworld Palace? Lu Qing pondered silently. Although he wasn't particularly interested in joining the Netherworld Palace, this promotion mechanism revealed quite a bit of information. It's worth noting that assassinating someone like Gong Shulian, a primordial spirit great power, is merely a C-class mission. It can be imagined just how powerful an assassin who reaches A-class must be. It seems they must at least be at the strength of an experienced primordial spirit realm. Reaching such a level of strength only grants the eligibility to apply for an assessment, not necessarily entry into the Netherworld Palace. Observing a single leaf to know the entire forest, from this alone, Lu Qing deeply felt the terrifying depth of the Netherworld Palace. No wonder the three major clans are deeply wary of the Netherworld Palace. This mysterious force is truly fearsome. Moreover, Lu Qing knew that the Netherworld Palace in the Heavenly Origin Great World is actually just a branch. The true Netherworld Palace is probably unimaginably powerful. Looks like I'll have to let Gong Shulian live a bit longer for now. Fine, I'll just take on some D-class missions first to raise my assassination level up. After understanding the assassination levels of the Netherworld Palace, Lu Qing realized that taking on C-class missions could only be postponed for now. Thus, he returned to the task wall there, continuing to select missions. This time, his gaze settled on those D-class missions, slowly picking them out. However, the rewards for D-class missions are much lower than those for C-class. Most range from a few hundred to a few thousand middle-grade spirit stones, rarely exceeding 10,000. After a while, he once again returned to the Rabbit Mask Woman's presence. "Senior, are you sure you want to take on all these bounty missions at once?" The Rabbit Mask Woman was shocked again. "Yes, is there a problem?" "Senior, you should know. Once our Netherworld Palace missions are accepted, they all have a completion deadline. If tasks aren't completed within the specified time frame, mission points will be deducted. Once points drop below -10, the peripheral member status will be cancelled. So if you take on so many tasks at once and fail to complete them on time, having points deducted wouldn't be worth it," the Rabbit Mask Woman advised. "No problem. The tasks I've selected aren't far from where I currently am, so I should be able to complete them." Lu Qing responded indifferently. Seeing Lu Qing insisting, the Rabbit Mask Woman took a deep look at him and offered no further advice. In her view, this senior was likely extremely confident in his own strength. She had seen many like him before, knowing that advice wouldn't sway him. Only personal setbacks would reveal how challenging their Netherworld Palace tasks are to complete. A quarter of an hour later, Lu Qing's heart and spirit exited the Netherworld Jade Token, his consciousness returning to his body. However, there was still a trace of astonishment in his eyes. Truly, that divine soul space was too mystical. It could manifest all sorts of substantial buildings and allow so many divine soul powers to materialize and communicate. It's hard to believe what realm the great power who created that divine soul space reached. Storing the Netherworld Jade Token, Lu Qing began to contemplate. Just now, in the divine soul space, he had successfully taken on 10 D-class missions. And all these missions required completion within a month. A pretty tight time frame. But for Lu Qing, it was no problem. "Little Li, let's go." "Where are we going, Ah Qing?" "Of course, to complete the missions." Half a day later, Lu Qing's figure appeared in a deep mountain, gazing at a rather ordinary, unnoticeable cave entrance at the base of a mountain. This should be it, the entrance to the Black Heart Thieves' lair. Lu Qing activated his superpower, looking into the cave entrance, soon smiling at the strips of paper floating out. "Ah Qing, is this where your first mission is?" Little Li emerged from Lu Qing's hood, curiously looking ahead. "Yes." Lu Qing nodded slightly. Although he wanted to earn spirit stones in the Netherworld Palace, he wouldn't take on just any task. This time, the 10 tasks selected were all completed without violating his principles. Just like in this mountain cave ahead, a group of bandits known as the Black Heart Thieves lived by plundering passing caravans and loose cultivators. Because this area is located at the intersection of several small sect territories, it's a lawless zone. Moreover, these Black Heart Thieves allegedly possess an exotic treasure for hiding their whereabouts, and every time they commit a crime, they're extremely cautious. Like the wind, at the first sign of trouble, they immediately retreat to the underground labyrinth. The terrain of this area is incredibly complex. The underground labyrinth is like a maze, making it difficult to navigate. Using their familiarity with the terrain, even top-tier golden cores found it hard to catch these Black Heart Thieves. As for primordial spirit great powers, the surrounding sect forces are small and lack a primordial spirit-level great power to oversee them. So despite the passage of time, these Black Heart Thieves continue to live well, with no one coming to eliminate them. Previously, Some assassins from the Netherworld Palace took on the task of exterminating this band of Black Heart thieves. But these Black Heart thieves were very alert. Every time sensing danger, they'd hide in the underground labyrinth, leaving the assassins helpless. With the addition of the bounty for this task, it isn't considered much. Over time, there were no more assassins willing to take on this task. Good at hiding? Lu Qing thought for a moment, then explained to Little Li. As Little Li listened, his eyes gradually lit up, and then he nodded vigorously. Don't worry, Ah Qing. I will definitely find them all. After saying that, Little Li's figure merged into the space and disappeared. Lu Qing smiled and began to walk towards the cave. He sent Little Li in first, naturally wanting it to find the tracks of the Black Heart thieves. As for Little Li's safety, he was not worried. According to the information provided by the Netherworld Palace, the strongest leader of this group of Black Heart thieves was only at the Golden Core 6 transition realm. Even if the Netherworld Palace's information was delayed and the Black Heart thieves' leader broke through the realm, it would be at most only the late Golden Core realm. And Little Li's current space divine ability was such that even a primordial spirit initial realm great power could not detect it at all. These Black Heart thieves couldn't possibly be aware of its presence. Indeed, just as Lu Qing had anticipated, shortly after he entered the cave, he felt a weight on his shoulder and Little Li's figure reappeared. With a trace of excitement in his eyes, it said, Ah Qing, I found their location. Good. Then lead the way, Lu Qing responded. Thus, under Little Li's guidance, Lu Qing proceeded towards the location of the Black Heart thieves. Along the way, he observed the descending terrain and the unusually complex cave branches. Lu Qing finally understood why previous assassins from the Netherworld Palace had repeatedly failed. The earth element power here in the depths of the earth was incredibly strong, which greatly suppressed a cultivator's divine soul-sensing ability. It wasn't easy to find the location of the Black Heart thieves using divine soul power. Moreover, they were currently in a very deep part underground. If too much commotion was created, it could cause the earth vein to become chaotic and the caves to collapse. At that point, even a cultivator in the late Golden Core realm might not be able to escape. However, these difficulties were simply not a problem for Lu Qing. He lightly tapped his foot, and a faint yellow light flashed on his body. Then an invisible ripple spread out from him, expanding towards the surroundings. In an instant, he could sense the activities within a radius of several miles. The Earth Spirit Pearl is simply a divine advantage in such conditions, Lu Qing remarked with a hint of admiration. He then increased his speed, heading in a certain direction. Utilizing the Earth Vein magnetic force, he had already discovered the traces of the Black Heart thieves. His presence, naturally, couldn't be detected by them. A dozen breaths later, Lu Qing suddenly stopped. Quite vigilant, he mused. He sensed a faint, almost imperceptible fluctuation ahead and chuckled. It was a small preemptive warning array, cleverly arranged. The array's fluctuations were almost perfectly integrated into the surrounding Earth Vein Qi, making it difficult for even a late Golden Core cultivator to detect without careful scrutiny. And even if discovered, passing through without triggering the array wasn't easy. Only someone like Little Li, who could directly merge into another spatial layer, could bypass the detection of this array. Of course, this was no challenge for Lu Qing. Although the array was cleverly arranged, it was transparent in the eyes of a master of arrays like him. After a few glances, he understood its operating principle, and after some thought, he casually cast several runes onto the array before proceeding forward. As he stepped through, the array didn't react at all. Even though it was still functioning, it produced no alerts. Lu Qing continued onward. This group of Black Heart thieves was indeed very vigilant, having laid numerous warning arrays along the paths surrounding their nest. If not for Lu Qing's profound knowledge in arrays, it would have been impossible to infiltrate silently. After crossing the last warning array, Lu Qing vaguely heard the noisy voices ahead. The Black Heart thieves seemed to be indulging in revelry. However, upon hearing some screams mixed in, Lu Qing's brow furrowed. He extended his heart and spirit, quickly seeing the scene ahead. Then, once he had taken everything in, A cold, killing intent surged in his eyes. "You all deserve to die." With a soul-shaking shout, his aura erupted. A yellow light emanated from him, quickly enveloping the surrounding miles. The noisy sounds ahead abruptly fell silent, with no more voices heard. "Ah Ching!" Little Li gasped, unable to help but call out softly. But this time, Lu Qing didn't respond, unlike his usual self. He continued forward with a stern face. After rounding several cave pass corners, Lu Qing finally arrived in a vast cavern room. Inside, a bonfire burned, surrounded by exquisite wines and culinary delights, with dozens of figures present. Among them, some were raising cups in a merriment, others were eating meat. Still others were engaging in obscene acts with women underneath them, naked. On a huge jade throne, a burly figure with a woman in each arm was laughing heartily. However, these figures, without exception, were all immobilized by Lu Qing's earth vein magnetic power, unable to move an inch. Only the looks of terror in their eyes and the vitality emanating from their bodies indicated they were still alive and not dead. Lu Qing ignored the terrified gazes of the Black Heart thieves. His attention focused on the large cauldron in the center of the cavern, suspended over the fire. Inside, the broth bubbled and boiled, but human heads occasionally surfaced from the soup. Glancing around at the gnawed bones, clearly from the human race, some were even very small, obviously children's bones. Lu Qing could no longer suppress his killing intent. "You scum!" With a thought, Lu Qing partially released the restraints on the burly figure with the strongest aura sitting on the jade throne. "Senior, please spare me." The moment the burly figure was freed, he immediately pleaded with Lu Qing. Although he recently had a breakthrough, stepping into the Golden Core 7th transition realm. The mysterious figure with the ghost face mask before him could easily suppress him. It was clear he was unable to resist. However, before he could finish speaking, a divine soul fluctuation struck his forehead acupoint. Immediately, the burly figure stiffened. His heart and spirit plunged into an endless illusion realm. Through interrogation in the illusion realm, Lu Qing quickly learned everything about the burly figure. "You've eaten so many people?" Upon learning of the burly figure's deeds, Lu Qing's expression grew even darker. He dispelled the illusion technique on the burly figure, awakening him from the endless illusion realm. Upon awakening, the moment the burly figure saw Lu Qing's mask, unimaginable terror appeared on his face, as if he had seen the most terrifying being. A sudden stench filled the air as the dignified Golden Core 7th transition cultivator lost control of his physical body and soiled himself out of fear. "Senior, I was just following orders, raiding those caravans. Most of the spoils are taken by the sect. Please, great senior, show mercy, spare my life." The burly figure, with snot and tears, desperately pleaded for mercy. If he weren't still sealed, he would have knelt and licked Lu Qing's shoes, begging for his life. No one knew what kind of illusion technique Lu Qing had used in the environment to instill such terror in him. "Did your sect also force you to eat people?" Lu Qing's calm voice resonated, abruptly halting the burly figure's pleas. If he weren't still sealed, he would have knelt and licked Lu Qing's shoes, begging for his life. No one knew what kind of illusion technique Lu Qing had used in the environment to instill such terror in him. "Did your sect also force you to eat people?" Lu Qing's calm voice resonated, abruptly halting the burly figure's pleas. When Lu Qing emerged from the underground cave, his expression was stern, and the killing intent on his body had yet to dissipate. He looked up at the azure sky, recalling the events that had just transpired. Earlier, in the underground cave, he couldn't suppress the killing intent in his heart and directly activated his divine skills, pulling all the Black Heart thieves into an illusion realm. In the illusion realm, he tortured them endlessly until they could no longer endure the pain, ultimately leading to their mental collapse and divine souls disintegrating. But even so, he hadn't been able to fully vent the killing intent in his heart, because in the cave several surviving women committed suicide right in front of him. Lu Qing had originally intended to save them, but those women shook their heads at him, It turned out they had been recently taken by this group of Blackheart thieves, and during the abduction their husbands, children, and family members had already perished at the hands of the Blackheart thieves. Even those being steamed in the big cauldron were their relatives. Moreover, they had long been subjected to all manner of humiliation by the Blackheart thieves, but were too weak to resist, making even the act of taking their own lives a luxury, which is why they had lingered on until now. Finally able to escape the sea of suffering, they knelt and thanked Lu Qing before picking up the scattered weapons from the ground and ending their own lives right in front of him. At that moment, Lu Qing could have stopped them. However, when he saw the resolve in the eyes of those women, he ultimately refrained from intervening, merely watching them die with a smile of relief, their souls returning to the netherworld. Yet witnessing this scene, Lu Qing felt no solace. Instead, his killing intent intensified. Ah Qing! Little Li lay on Lu Qing's shoulder, looking at him with concern. It had been a long time since it had seen Lu Qing with such a murderous aura. Don't worry, I'm fine. Lu Qing reined in his killing intent, patting little Li's head to console it. Ah Qing, where are we going now, to complete the next task? Little Li asked. Yes, but before that, there's something else we need to do. Ning Yuan sect. Lu Qing recalled the information the burly Great Han had divulged in the illusion realm. Once again a trace of evil qi swelling in his eyes. The next moment, he transformed into a stream of light, rising into the sky, flying toward the west. In the heavenly origin great world, Ning Yuan sect was not considered a strong sect. Its strongest force comprised a few supreme elders in the late Golden Core stage and the sect master. However, in recent years, the sect master had frequently gone into seclusion, seemingly making great progress in cultivation. Recently, there were even rumors that the sect master might be about to reach the primordial spirit realm, exciting all the disciples in the sect. As long as the sect master can achieve the primordial spirit, the foundation of Ning Yuan sect would greatly increase, potentially allowing them to seize more territory and even annex the nearby two sects. The sect master has been in seclusion for 3 years this time. Do you think he can enter the primordial spirit realm? Some sect disciples, bored, began to gossip. The sect master is incredibly talented. He is sure to break through. Indeed, once the sect master breaks through, our Ning Yuan sect will have primordial spirit great power, and then neither Su Xian sect nor Fantion sect will be our match, and perhaps our territory can expand again. Several Ning Yuan sect disciples were chatting excitedly when one of them, glancing up by chance, suddenly widened his eyes. Look! Someone is flying over our sect. Who is so bold as to fly over our Ning Yuan sect? Aren't they afraid of being shot down by the sect protection array? No, it seems the visitor has ill intentions. Ring the alarm bell quickly, it could very well be an enemy. The other disciples all looked skyward, feeling an inexplicable chill when they saw Lu Qing in a black cloak and wearing a ghost face mask. Soon after, they heard the alarm bell sound, and the entire Ning Yuan sect was in uproar. In the sky, Lu Qing watched as the Ning Yuan sect disciples quickly gathered below, led by several elders, ready for battle, though his expression showed no change. He simply stood quietly in the air, sensing something. Lu Qing didn't move, but the coldness emanating from him made all the Ning Yuan sect disciples extremely vigilant. At the front, an elder with a remarkable aura and golden core realm cultivation stepped forward. He addressed Lu Qing in a loud voice. Who are you, and what business do you have with our Ning Yuan sect? Tell Ning Jizi to come out. Lu Qing replied coldly. Hearing Lu Qing's brusque tone, the elder's expression shifted slightly. Behind him, the Ning Yuan sect disciples were in a commotion, because Ning Jizi was none other than their sect master's name. Our sect master is in seclusion. What business do you have with him? Although the elder realized that Lu Qing likely had hostile intentions, he still replied patiently. However, Lu Qing had no desire for verbal sparring, and his immense divine soul-sensing ability had already located his target for the visit. His eyes turned cold instantly. If he won't come out, then I'll raise your lair. The next moment, Lu Qing waved his arm, and a sword chi shot out, slicing toward a palace in the Ning Yuan sect below. The sword chi was incredibly fierce, and the sect protection array of the Ning Yuan sect was as if made of paper, unable to resist it in the slightest. In just an instant it was cleaved apart, and then the sword chi drove straight in, slashing into the palace. Immediately, the ground shook, and the entire palace, along with the mountain beneath it, was split in two by Lu Qing's sword, revealing a massive sword mark. In a rather disheveled state, a figure flew out from a secret chamber beneath the palace and landed in front of a group of Ning Yuan sect disciples, looking up at Lu Qing with uncertain surprise. Sect Master! All the Ning Yuan sect disciples who had originally been astonished by the immense power of Lu Qing's sword were revitalized upon seeing that person. It was as if as long as the sect master was present, they had a backbone to rely on. Are you Ning Jizi? Lu Qing looked coldly at that figure. It was a middle-aged man dressed in a purple robe, whose aura was harmonious, having reached the realm of Golden Core 9th turn perfection. However, although he'd heard the Ning Yuan sect disciples' address, to avoid confusion, Lu Qing activated superpower to examine him. I am Ning Jizi, sect master of the Ning Yuan sect. I'm not sure what matters you have with me, as we seem unfamiliar with each other. Ning Jizi looked seriously at Lu Qing, filled with apprehension. The sword strike from earlier by Lu Qing was truly terrifying. If he hadn't dodged at the critical moment, he probably would have been seriously injured by now. Even now, he still felt a chill through his body, as if sword chi had invaded. At this moment, notes were already appearing in Lu Qing's vision. After reading these notes, his intent to kill grew stronger. It doesn't matter whether you know me or not. Do you recognize him? Taking a head from a storage bag, he threw it down. The head landed precisely in front of Ning Jizi, rolling several times, with its face toward him, bearing a horrified expression as if it had endured unimaginable torture before death. Ning Jizi saw the face of the head and involuntarily changed his expression. But before he could say anything, a disciple behind him exclaimed, Brother Duan, has he gone missing? Didn't Brother Duan perish in the flaming secret realm 30 years ago? The other disciples, seeing the head clearly, were similarly shocked. Even the few Golden Core late-stage elders showed surprise. It turns out Lu Qing had thrown out the head of their long-missing true disciple, Duan Xian. It seems you all recognize this person, Lu Qing said coldly. Indeed, the likeness of this head does resemble our Ning Yuan sect's true disciple who went missing years ago. I'm not sure how you obtained this head. Did this inadequate disciple not die as presumed but rather fell at your hands? Ning Jizi said slowly. As soon as these words were spoken, the Ning Yuan sect disciples behind him glared at Lu Qing with hostility. This strange ghost-face masked man came, broke the mountain protection array with a sword, and now threw Brother Duan's head, clearly an enemy of their Ning Yuan sect. You play the role well, so do you also want to tell me you don't know that in this area, the notorious and malevolent Black Heart Thieves leader is this man? Lu Qing said blandly. What, Brother Duan is the Black Heart Thieves leader? That's impossible. How could Brother Duan be the Black Heart Thieves leader? Thief, stop slandering our Ning Yuan sect's true disciple. Lu Qing's words stirred up immediate uproar among the Ning Yuan sect disciples, who angrily rebuked him. You've seen, this disciple had always had a good reputation. Before his disappearance he was acclaimed as a young hero within 1,000 miles. Cannot be the Black Heart Thieves leader you claim. Ning Jizi said seriously while retaining composure despite the shock from hearing the name Black Heart. Whether you deny it or not makes no difference to me. Lu Qing shook his head. This scum confessed everything before death. It was you who used evil technique on him, placing a restriction to feign disappearance, while secretly transforming into Black Heart Thieves, plundering passing merchants for resources, supplying your cultivation of evil technique. Otherwise, with your talent, how else would you have consecutively broken through and reached Golden Core 9th turn perfection so quickly, near achieving primordial spirit? Most Ning Yuan sect disciples continued to disbelieve Lu Qing, yet a few, remembering something, had a slight change in expression. This included the Golden Core late-stage elders. You are slandering. What proof do you have that I instructed Duan Xian to become black heart thieves, and whether this head is my disciple in the first place? You expend effort to tarnish Ning Yuan Sect's reputation. Do you think we won't retaliate? At this point, Ning Jizi shouted loudly. The powerful momentum rose dramatically from him. He knew he couldn't let this ghost-face masked man say any more. Otherwise, a few already suspicious individuals within the sect would grow more distrustful. I've said your denial doesn't affect me. The reason I say this is just to let you die with understanding, lest you reach the underworld not knowing who demands your life. Lu Qing stated, using his fingers as a sword to make several gentle strokes. Ning Jizi felt a sudden chill, but before he could react, he felt his limbs grow cold. In the next moment, he couldn't feel his arms or legs. Ning Jizi was shocked, looking back only to find in horror his limbs slowly falling off. When did Lu Qing's sword chi cut them? Soon after, he felt his body tightening, engulfed by an enormous invisible force, rapidly pulling him into the sky. No matter how he exerted magic power golden core, he couldn't escape the terrifying bind. Release our sect master. Lu Qing's sword chi struck so quickly even Ning Jizi at golden core 9th turn couldn't react, let alone others. But as Lu Qing used primordial magnetic power to grab Ning Jizi, the rest of the Ning Yuan sect disciples, despite being shocked by Lu Qing's sword chi, managed to react. Led by the Golden Core late-stage elders, they attacked Lu Qing. Seal. However, as their Taoist magical treasures activated, Lu Qing gently uttered a word. Everyone suddenly realized that an immensely powerful sealing power descended over them. Their Taoist magical treasures were entirely suppressed mid-air, along with their bodies unable to move. Considering you were unknowing, this time I only destroy the leader. If you resist again, I'll annihilate the entire Ning Yuan sect. Lu Qing's indifferent voice echoed, causing the Ning Yuan sect disciples' hearts and spirits to tremble wildly, watching helplessly as the limbless Ning Jizi was seized by Lu Qing. Sir, the Black Heart Thieves matter truly has nothing to do with me. Please distinguish. Don't be deceived by vile provocations. Ning Jizi now recognized the figure before him as beyond his imagination. Terrified, he begged desperately. Do you know how the Black Heart Thieves usually deal with the merchants they rob? Lu Qing's question confused Ning Jizi. Don't know? No matter. I'll now let you experience the suffering they endured. Rest assured, killing you outright is too easy. I won't deal with you so simply. I'll let you feel the pain suffered by those consumed children 100-fold. Lu Qing's slow speech increased Ning Jizi's terror. He tried to continue pleading, but it was too late. An endless illusion realm descended upon him, and before sinking entirely, Ning Jizi's mind only imprinted Lu Qing's strange ghost face mask. The next moment, an extremely tragic scream echoed from the heavens. The screams of Niji lasted for a full quarter of an hour before they stopped. It's not that Lu Qing was merciful, but that Niji couldn't withstand the endless illusions created by Lu Qing's use of the superpower mistaken. Amidst boundless pain, the divine soul completely collapsed and was utterly obliterated. Because the time in the illusion realm is different from reality. Although only a quarter of an hour passed in reality, Niji's divine soul had already been tortured for an unknowable amount of time in the illusion realm. Ultimately, in the endless torment, Niji went completely insane, his heart and spirit shattered, his divine soul obliterated. Looking at Niji, who no longer had a trace of vitality chi, Lu Qing's gaze was calm as he collected the corpse. Then he also took the head of the Black Heart Thieves leader from the ground and collected it as well. Without saying a word or glancing back, he directly flew away. All the disciples of the Ning Yuan sect, including those several supreme elders at the late Golden Core stage, even though Lu Qing had withdrawn the power suppressing them, still didn't dare to make any moves. They only watched Lu Qing leave with eyes full of awe. At this moment, they understood that this mysterious figure wearing the ghost face mask must be a formidable figure above the primordial spirit realm. Facing such a figure, they couldn't possibly resist. If they rebelled, the only outcome would likely be the destruction of their sect. Therefore, Only after Lu Qing's silhouette disappeared did a disciple tremble and ask, "Supreme Elder, with the sect master passed, what should we do?" The leading elder's face did not look good. The dignified sect master was tortured to death in public. If this matter spreads, no matter how it is spun, it will undoubtedly be a huge blow to their Ning Yuan sect. But what concerned him more was if what the man with the ghost face mask said was true. Was the sect master really involved with the Black Heart thieves? Instinctively, the elder was reluctant to believe this. But thinking about the skull of Duan Xian, who had been missing for 30 years, that the mysterious man had brought out, and linking it to some unusual behaviors of the sect master in recent years and their numerous failed attempts to eradicate the Black Heart thieves. The Black Heart thieves always seemed to be able to foresee their actions, always able to take refuge in underground caverns just in time. Involuntarily, the elder had a faint suspicion in his heart. But this matter concerned the reputation of the Ning Yuan sect, so naturally, he couldn't speak openly in front of so many disciples. Finally, he could only say, "This person's background is mysterious, and we don't know what grievances he has with our Ning Yuan sect, but his strength is unfathomable, beyond what our Ning Yuan sect can handle. I will report this matter to the Holy Alliance and let the Holy Alliance make a decision for our sect." Hearing that the Supreme Elder had made a decision, all the disciples of the Ning Yuan sect breathed a sigh of relief. If the Holy Alliance could intervene, that would be the best outcome. Although the sect master was killed, that person was just too terrifying. Even if they wanted revenge, they were powerless. Seeing the disciples' appearance, the elder knew that the entire sect was now completely intimidated by that mysterious man. He didn't know the man's origins or why he targeted their Ning Yuan sect so specifically. For a moment, a shadow loomed over the elder's heart. As for the thoughts of the remaining people in the Ning Yuan sect, Lu Qing was not interested in knowing. If he hadn't learned during the torment of Niji that the Black Heart thieves only obeyed him alone and the other Ning Yuan sect disciples were unaware, he might have wiped out the entire sect. During his flight, Lu Qing suddenly stopped, hovering high in the sky, gazing silently at the slowly sinking sunset on the horizon. Little Li lay quietly on his shoulder, not speaking, quietly accompanying him. After a long time, Little Li softly said, "Ah Qing, are you still unhappy?" "No." Lu Qing shook his head. "The world is unfair, and the weak are slaughtered. I've long known this. We work so hard in cultivation to escape this fate. But seeing the horrors in that underground cavern earlier, I was surprisingly enraged, filled with a desire to kill, and my sword chi's power increased significantly. It's somewhat unusual. The sword chi that Lu Qing casually unleashed before was something that Niji, a golden core perfection strongman, had almost no resistance to. This power was somewhat beyond Lu Qing's expectations. At the time, in his rage, he didn't think much of it, but now recalling it, he felt something strange in his heart. "I also felt that your killing intent was particularly strong this time, very strange," Little Li quickly said. For years, since even before Lu Qing began his cultivation, Little Li had been following him, having seen Lu Qing angry many times before. But this time, his killing intent was particularly heavy, making Little Li a bit worried. "Something is wrong. Guard me for a moment while I find the reason." Lu Qing summoned a cloud, sat cross-legged upon it, while Little Li earnestly stood guard beside him. Concentrating, Lu Qing directly activated his superpower, using the state of sudden enlightenment to examine himself. Soon he found the reason. "I see. So it's the influence of the little sky-breaking sword chi." Indeed, after a series of investigations, Lu Qing pinpointed the cause of his increased killing intent. It was precisely his frequent use of the little sky-breaking sword chi lately. The little sky-breaking sword chi is what Lu Qing comprehended based on the sky-breaking sword chi legacy left in his home world by the Patian Taoist more than 10,000 years ago. Originally, the sky-breaking sword chi was an advanced sword Dao legacy that could only be cultivated after reaching the primordial spirit realm. However, Lu Qing relied on the mystical nature of his superpower, continually observing the sword chi personally wielded by Patian Taoist in the illusion realm of inheritance. In the end, he created a little sky-breaking sword chi which allowed him to cultivate it even in the Golden Core realm. During over a decade of seclusion, he had already cultivated the little sky-breaking sword chi to the limits of the Golden Core realm. Unexpectedly, the constant use of this sword chi subtly increased his murderous aura. Sure enough, the heritage left by a primordial spirit great power who has survived multiple tribulations. Even the sword chi I created by comprehending its sword intent has influenced my heart and spirit. Lu Qing couldn't help but marvel. At the same time, he became even more wary of those seasoned primordial spirit great powers who had survived many tribulations. Even just a heritage left behind could unknowingly affect his heart and spirit. How terrifying must those old primordial spirit monsters be themselves. However, this doesn't seem to be a bad thing. Now that he understood the reason, it would be easy to resolve. Lu Qing recalled the tragic scene in the underground cave, and slowly felt a surge of murderous intent from within. He integrated this murderous intent into the little sky-breaking sword chi, instantly feeling a significant increase in the power of the sword chi. So that's it. The sky-breaking sword chi emphasizes cleaving heaven and earth, slaughtering all, essentially requiring a heart of slaughter to drive the sword chi and slay all directions. I have created the little sky-breaking sword chi, but I rarely used this sword chi against enemies, let alone integrated my genuine murderous intent into it. Thus, although the sword chi is formidable, it always lacked a hint of true charm. This time, the heinous acts of those black heart thieves provoked my true murderous intent, which I integrated within, finally completing this sword chi. Insight arose within Lu Qing's heart. In the trial space of the Netherworld Palace, although he used little sky-breaking sword chi to confront Zhongju, in reality, due to the disparity in strength, his inner murderous intent was not very intense. It wasn't until this time, seeing the heinous scene in the underground cave, that his inner murderous intent was truly provoked. This could be said to be the time he was most enraged since rebirthing into this world. The only time that could barely compare would be the night long ago when he had just started practicing martial arts, still in the Qi blood realm, slaughtering the bandits of Happy Village. It was on that night that his temperament underwent a transformation, understanding the principle of clarifying the mind and seeing into one's true nature, holding true to oneself. I didn't expect both breakthroughs to be related to bandits. Lu Qing shook his head, condensing a strand of sword chi in his hand, wrapping it around his fingers. The sword chi's power was restrained, but as it circulated, it almost had the ability to cut through space, terrifyingly so. Now that I've integrated murderous intent into my little sky-breaking sword chi, its power has increased significantly to genuine perfection. It can now be truly called sky-breaking sword chi. Originally, sky-breaking sword chi could only be cultivated after achieving the primordial spirit. But this time, by chance, Lu Qing understood the principle of driving the sword chi with a heart of slaughter, truly mastering this sword chi. Of course, all of this was due to Lu Qing's extremely deep foundation. The power of his perfect 9-turn golden core was not inferior to that of ordinary primordial spirit initial realm great powers. Moreover, his physical body and divine soul were also extraordinarily strong, far surpassing cultivators of the same level. His real strength could even slay a primordial spirit. Such terrifying foundations were what allowed him to refine genuine sky-breaking sword chi. Otherwise, if another golden core perfection cultivator were to comprehend sky-breaking sword chi, their physical body wouldn't be able to withstand its terrifying power. Having perfected the sky-breaking sword chi has given me an additional method against enemies, allowing me to conceal my identity better. Lu Qing played with the strand of sword chi at his finger, feeling a bit cheerful in his heart. This time, upon leaving seclusion, he aimed to conceal his identity as Chen Qing. When confronting others, he primarily used methods of a sword cultivator, rarely exposing his physical strength, and even kept the leaving fire tripod reined in, never revealing it. Yet without using the leaving fire tripod, solely relying on the methods of a sword cultivator to deal with opponents of the Golden Core realm was more than enough, but against the primordial spirit realm it might have been somewhat difficult. The Sword Dao domain technique, while powerful, would not easily entrap one with a primordial spirit realm's defenses. Now that he has completed the genuine sky-breaking sword chi, the situation is different. Solely with this sword chi, Lu Qing is confident he can fight a primordial spirit initial realm great power without using any other means. If he collects enough spirit stones to break through the limit and step into a realm beyond the 9th turn, the power of this sword chi would become even more terrifying. Even repeating his past feat on Tianshu Divine Mountain, reversing to slay a primordial spirit, wouldn't be impossible. His thoughts surged for a while. Then Lu Qing withdrew the sword chi and retrieved a storage magical treasure. He gazed at it for a while, sighed, and sent his heart and spirit inside. As expected, he indeed saw that it contained many treasures, spirit stones, and elixirs. This storage magical treasure was retrieved from Ning Jizi's body. Given this person's selfishness, he naturally carried important treasures with him, which now conveniently fell into Lu Qing's hands. However, looking at the treasures inside, Lu Qing didn't feel particularly happy, because he knew that quite a few of these treasures were likely tributes from the Black Heart thieves. Thinking of the merchants murdered and devoured, the joy of Lu Qing's recent breakthrough was largely diminished. He put the items away and stood up. "Ah Qing, how is it? Did you find the reason?" Little Li asked. It was due to the cultivation technique, but now it's already resolved. Let's go. There are still many tasks to complete. Little Li carefully looked at Lu Qing, seemingly confirming that he was truly fine. Lu Qing rubbed its head, smiling. "I'm really fine, don't worry. As long as you're okay, then let's go." Feeling the warmth of Lu Qing's palm, Little Li knew he was truly fine, and only then did it fully relax. Lu Qing dispersed the auspicious clouds, transformed into a stream of light, and continued to the next destination. In the following month, Lu Qing traveled across several neighboring continental regions, completing tasks. The tasks he accepted in the Divine Soul Space were all meticulously selected by him. Only a small portion were assassination missions. Most were about finding spiritual medicine and rare items in certain perilous regions. Assassination missions were naturally not challenging for him. He only chose those heinous individuals who were much wanted, with no moral burden in slaying them. As for seeking elixirs and rare items, with Little Li's peculiar treasure hunting ability, he completed them smoothly. Thus, on the 25th day after he accepted the tasks, he entered a small city and walked into a small building. Seeing the old man who had previously given him the trial jade talisman, still dozing off, Lu Qing shook his head. Then he softly called out, "Senior, the junior is here to claim the task rewards." After a few moments, the old man opened his murky eyes, impatiently asking, "What task rewards?" But after seeing Lu Qing, a strange glint appeared in his eyes. "Kid, it's you." "Indeed, it's the junior. Back then, thanks to your senior's gift of the trial jade talisman, I was able to become an outer member of the Netherworld Palace." At this moment, Lu Qing was still dressed in a black cloak, wearing a ghost face mask, exactly the same as when he first entered this small building. "The trial jade talisman was something you acquired by your own skill, not a gift from me." The old man did not buy it. "I didn't expect you, kid, to have some skills, surviving inside, passing the trial. You said what, claiming task rewards?" "That's right. This junior recently took on some tasks, just completed them, and now wishes to claim rewards." Lu Qing took out his Netherworld Jade token and handed it over. Because the Divine Soul Space can only be accessed with Divine Soul power, real objects cannot be transmitted in. Therefore, the assassins of the Netherworld Palace still need to submit task credentials at various strongholds to claim rewards. Only after verification can they receive bounties and task points. "Let me see what tasks you've completed." The old man took Lu Qing's Netherworld Jade token, played several seal formations, and then explored them with his heart and spirit. In the next moment, his eyes opened slightly. "You, kid, completed 10 Ding-grade tasks in less than a month?" When Lu Qing emerged from the Netherworld Palace's stronghold, he had already collected all the rewards for the mission. Along with that, his assassination rank had reached grade C. After he left, the old man with murky eyes became serious. Less than a month, and he completed 10 grade D tasks, rising to grade C assassin. No wonder he's someone who can kill Songju. But what are the motives of such an anomaly entering our Netherworld Palace? Regarding Lu Qing's recent performance in the trial space, as someone of considerable status within the Netherworld Palace, the old man was naturally well aware. But he didn't expect that Lu Qing would complete 10 Grade D tasks within a month, propelling his assassination rank to Grade C in one go. Why is he so eager to raise his assassination rank? What's the purpose? The old man pondered for a while but couldn't figure it out. Finally, he chose to report this matter, as this ghost-face masked kid clearly has someone backing him involving significant matters. He's just a minor second tribulation primordial spirit, and better not get too involved. If anything happens, let the elders above worry about it. On the other hand, after leaving the small building, Lu Qing didn't immediately take on Grade C tasks. Instead, he headed to a certain remote mountain and chose a spacious cave, laid down an array to conceal his aura. Ah Qing. The old man's shocked expression when you completed 10 tasks in a month was so funny. Little Li emerged from Lu Qing's hood, jumped to the ground, and said happily, "That old man is a primordial spirit realm expert and a member of the Netherworld Palace. He might be feigning surprise." Lu Qing didn't show the slightest arrogance. Although the old man looked like a decaying elder, his true identity couldn't be hidden from Lu Qing's superpower detection. So Lu Qing naturally knew his true identity and some of his past, having once been a powerful assassin of the Netherworld Palace. Assassins are best at disguising. Who knows if the emotions the old man expressed are deliberate or not? "I see, Ah Qing. So will you take on Grade C tasks next?" "No rush for tasks. Let's make some preparations first." According to the difficulty grading of tasks by the Netherworld Palace, most Grade C tasks require primordial spirit realm strength to have hope in completing. Although Lu Qing's current strength is not afraid of ordinary primordial spirit initial realm, the next person he wants to assassinate is not a common individual. So it's better to enhance his strength a bit more first. Currently, I've accumulated quite a lot of spirit stones, which can be used to enhance my strength. After completing 10 Grade D tasks, coupled with the reward of 3,000 middle grade spirit stones from the Netherworld Palace after the trial. Additionally, the gains during this month while completing tasks. Lu Qing's spirit stones now exceed the 10,000 mark threshold. Using them to break the limit to surpass the realm above 9 transformations might still be insufficient. But to cultivate the path of witch to the golden witch perfection realm is more than enough. Thinking of this, Lu Qing no longer hesitated, took out a batch of middle-grade spirit stones, laid a spirit-gathering array. As the array operated, rich spiritual charm instantly filled the entire cave. Lu Qing activated Undying Heavenly Witch Body. His body immediately transformed like a bottomless pit, began frantically absorbing spiritual charm. As for Little Li, it also lay on the other side of the cave, silently cultivating its true Dragon 9 transformations. With Lu Qing's current cultivation, his efficiency in absorbing spiritual energy was terrifying. Before long, with a soft sound, the spirit stones in the spirit gathering array shattered one by one. The spiritual charm was exhausted, and they were of no value. Lu Qing's expression remained unchanged, casually waved his hand. Another batch of middle-grade spirit stones flew out, landed into the spirit gathering array. Just like this, with Lu Qing periodically changing the spirit stones, his long stagnant power of the physical body began to enhance again. Time in cultivation always passes quickly. Soon half a month went by. On this day, Lu Qing's body suddenly shook, stopped absorbing spiritual energy. A harmonious and complete aura emanated from him. An abundant and gentle golden light, not dazzling but extremely resilient, surfaced over his physical body, enveloping him entirely, making him appear like a golden war god. Ah Qing has broken through? This change immediately woke Little Li from its cultivation. Looking at the golden light surging over Lu Qing, it felt a pressing aura. Although Lu Qing's form hadn't changed, it felt as though he became a golden giant seated in the expanse of the heavens. Ah Qing is becoming more impressive. Little Li gawked. After cultivating true Dragon 9 transformations, Its physical body also increased daily. But compared to Lu Qing, it's still far behind. Could feel that even if it exerted its full strength, it probably couldn't withstand a slap from Lu Qing. Under little Li's gaze, the golden light and aura from Lu Qing suddenly converged, returning him to a gentle normalcy. "Ah, Qing, did you break through?" Little Li immediately asked. "Yes, finally broke through." Lu Qing nodded, thinking to himself somewhat ruefully, the cultivation of the witch's path also consumes a substantial amount of resources. Just to cultivate his witch body from golden witch great success to perfection, nearly half of his spirit stones have been consumed. But fortunately, these expenditures were worth it. He felt for a moment, and now his mana, physical body, and divine soul power had all reached the realm of golden core perfection. With the perfect golden core as the core, bridging the physical body and divine soul, harmonizing and complementing each other, achieving perfect integration. The condition could be described as unprecedentedly good, and his strength had reached the peak since he embarked on cultivation. Although I've only cultivated my physical body to the perfection of golden witch, the perfection of all three parts makes my strength at least 20 to 30% stronger than before. Lu Qing clenched his fist, feeling the boundless power within his body, silently estimating. Although it was just a small breakthrough in the physical body, the increase in strength certainly surprised him somewhat. Moreover, with mana, physical body, and divine soul all achieving golden core perfection, he also very clearly felt the barrier at the limits of the golden core. To break through that barrier, essence, chi, spirit, and divine soul must be unified. Then with great determination and perseverance, it might be possible. However, after estimating his remaining spirit stones, he abandoned the idea of breaking through now. Currently, the remaining middle-grade spirit stones in his hand are less than 10,000. Just to break through the physical body from great success to perfection of the golden witch cost him several thousand middle-grade spirit stones. The remaining spirit stones are certainly insufficient to support breaking through the limits to the realm beyond the 9th transformation. There's no choice. I can only continue to accumulate spirit stones. Lu Qing sighed, took out the Netherworld Jade token, and directed a wisp of divine soul power into it. The next moment, his heart and spirit should follow the array within the Netherworld Jade talisman, entering an unusual space. The divine soul space was no different from when Lu Qing last entered it. It still had the same lively scene of people coming and going. It made Lu Qing marvel once again at the profound foundation of the Netherworld Palace. He already knew that this divine soul space was just for the assassins of the Netherworld Palace in the Heavenly Origin Great World to communicate, but the number was already quite considerable. It's worth noting that those who passed the trials of the outer members of the Netherworld Palace were at least experts in the Golden Core realm. Such a large number of Golden Core realm experts constitute a very formidable force. If utilized, probably no sect force could resist it. And this was merely a small portion of the Netherworld Palace's power. Returning to the task hall, Lu Qing first went to the wall displaying many tasks to see if there were any suitable bounty tasks. Although he had already decided to take on the assassination task against Gong Shulian, he still wanted to see if there were other tasks he could complete casually at the time. After all, time was very precious to him. This time, Lu Qing focused mainly on the Grade C tasks. Grade D tasks were easy to complete, but their rewards were not substantial. Most were worth only 100 or so middle-grade spirit stones, which were a drop in the bucket for his goals and not worth the time to complete. After watching for a while, Lu Qing suddenly saw a bounty task in a remote position. Qiao Rong. After killing, you can receive 10,000 middle-grade spirit stones by presenting the head. Lu Qing originally had little interest in this task, but when he saw the description of the woman named Qiao Rong under the task, he paused and slowly read. Then, a knowing look appeared in his eyes. So, this woman named Qiao Rong is actually the head lady of the third branch of the direct lineage of the Gongshu family, and also the mother of that Gongshu Yu. Lu Qing suddenly remembered that shortly after entering the Heavenly Origin Great World, he was publicly targeted with a bounty in the Netherworld Palace. The person behind it seemed to be the mother of Gongshu Yu, the Kanglan City Lord Nangong Yuanwu, who guided him into the Heavenly Origin Great World, was later assassinated by assassins from the Netherworld Palace, seriously injured and nearly killed. The person who posted the bounty task was also this wife of the Gongshu family. Because when she posted the bounty task at the time, she did not hide her background in order to vent her hatred, making it known to everyone that she was avenging her son. Wasn't it said that later the Gongshu family and the Nangong family had reconciled under the Holy Alliance's mediation, and the bounty in the Netherworld Palace was revoked? Then who secretly issued this bounty task? Nangong Yuanwu, or another enemy of the Gongshu family? Lu Qing checked and found that the person who posted this bounty task chose to hide their origin. He did not know if it was Nangong Yuanwu who was unwilling to accept it and secretly issued an assassination task for revenge, or if it was someone else who had a grudge against Chao Rong. Or perhaps it was a third party that wanted to deliberately muddy the waters, sow discord, and rekindle the feud between the Gongshu and Nangong families. However, these things did not affect Lu Qing. He looked at the task, thinking to himself, "City Lord, whether or not you posted the bounty, let me take revenge for you, as a token of repayment for the kindness you showed me when bringing me up." Lu Qing heard that although Nangong Yuanwu was not killed in the assassination, he was seriously injured and even faced the possibility of losing all cultivation. No one knew whether his strength had recovered all these years. Since he was going to assassinate Gong Shulian, it was on the way, so he would also deal with this Chao Rong. Once he made up his mind, Lu Qing walked to the counter. The person attending him was still the woman wearing a rabbit mask. "Senior, are you sure you want to take on these 2 assassination tasks?" The rabbit-masked woman couldn't help but ask after seeing the 2 tasks Lu Qing wanted to take. "That's right, why, is there a problem? Both of these tasks are Grade C tasks. I am now a Grade C assassin, so I should be able to take them." Lu Qing frowned a little. Had something gone wrong again? No, Senior's assassination level has increased, so naturally you can take these 2 tasks. The rabbit-masked woman quickly explained upon sensing Lu Qing's tone. In the Divine Soul space, assassins couldn't investigate each other's identities, but these Netherworld Palace internal personnel could identify their Netherworld Jade tokens. So she could recognize that the person in front of her was the senior who, not long ago, took 10 Grade D tasks at once and completed them all within a month. I really wonder what kind of enmity this senior has with the Gongshu family. The rabbit-masked woman couldn't help but think. She hadn't forgotten that when Lu Qing first entered the Divine Soul space, the task he wanted to take was to assassinate Gong Shulian. Having found out that only Grade C assassins could take that task, he took 10 Grade D tasks at once and elevated his assassination level to Grade C. Now, his first task after becoming a Grade C assassin was still to assassinate Gong Shulian, along with a task to kill a direct lineage wife of the Gongshu family. She couldn't believe there wasn't a huge grudge involved. Her mind raced with gossiping thoughts, but her hands moved quickly, registering Lu Qing without delay. "It's done, Senior. You know the rules, right? If you fail to complete the tasks within a year, you will lose task points, correct?" Lu Qing was well aware that because Grade C tasks were much more difficult, the time frame for completion was significantly extended. "Correct, but I also need to tell you, Senior, that each Grade C task is worth 10 points. If you fail to complete one, 10 points will be deducted. If both tasks are not completed within the stipulated time, your points will be -10. Then you'll lose your status as an external member of our Netherworld Palace." The rabbit-masked woman said solemnly. "That's fine, I've got it." Lu Qing replied unconcerned. "As long as you know, Senior." The rabbit-masked woman perceived Lu Qing's strong confidence, but remembering his feat of completing 10 Grade D tasks within a month, it was evident that his strength had surely exceeded the Golden Core realm, so confidence was warranted. However, the Gongshu family was one of the 36 upper families, with a multitude of experts and extremely strong arrays protecting them. The rabbit-masked woman couldn't help but look forward with anticipation, wondering whether this mysterious senior could succeed. Zhou Tian City. In the sky, Lu Qing stood suspended in mid-air, gazing into the distance at a massive city that lay upon the earth. That is the stronghold of the Gongsu family, Zhou Tian City. Looking at Zhou Tian City, which is even larger than Tianshu City, Lu Qing recalled information about this city. It is said that Zhoutian City was built by the ancestors of the Gongsu family. The inner architecture is meticulously arranged, with a hint of the Zhoutian star distribution. The entire city is divided into two major areas: the inner city and the outer city. The inner city is inhabited by the direct lineage of the Gongsu family, while the outer city is the activity area for branch families and other various forces affiliated with the Gongsu family. The outer city of Zhoutian City does not prohibit outsiders from entering, but the inner city is heavily guarded, further protected by powerful arrays. If not invited, entering recklessly would result in being directly killed by the array. The inner city cannot be forced into, need to first find an opportunity to understand the situation. Lu Qing pondered silently. The Gongsu family is one of the 36 top clans in the Heavenly Origin Great World, and ranks quite high. Such a formidable background is sure to have those old monsters who have passed multiple primordial spirit tribulations within the clan. Plus, with arrays guarding it with his current strength, he cannot force his way in. However, it's not completely without opportunity. Lu Qing recalled the intelligence given by the Netherworld Palace when accepting the assassination mission, and already had a plan in mind. In the next moment, he transformed into a stream of light, flying downwards. As for Little Li, to ensure everything goes smoothly, he had already let it temporarily hide within the leaving fire tripod. After all, in the Gongsu family, there might be powerful beings who have begun to understand the Space Dao. Little Li's space divine ability might find it difficult to remain undetected as before, in front of such beings. Therefore, for this assassination mission, Lu Qing does not plan to let Little Li participate. During the flight, Lu Qing's aura changed dramatically. As he approached Zhoutian City, both his appearance and aura had completely transformed into a different one. A figure resembling an ordinary, somewhat wooden golden core level middle-aged man appeared. Within 50 miles around Zhoutian City, flying is not permitted. Lu Qing landed and used movement techniques to proceed. Before long, he had arrived at the city gate. As one of the 36 top clans in the Heavenly Origin Great World, the Gongsu family certainly had an air of grandeur. Though there are guards at the gate of Zhoutian City, there is no entry restriction, nor is there an entry fee. Travelers or merchants can enter and exit freely. Thus, Lu Qing entered the outer city of Zhoutian City effortlessly. Once inside, he didn't rush to gather information but found an inn and rented a golden core level cave mansion to stay in. In the following days, he didn't do anything out of the ordinary. Aside from cultivation, he would occasionally go out. After a few days, Lu Qing rented a small shop in the outer city and opened an artifact refining shop. It mainly deals with crafting ordinary magical treasures for sale or for repairing them. Initially, his shop had poor business, but as months passed, relying on the quality and affordability of the magical treasures and decent repair skills, his shop gradually gained some reputation nearby, and people began visiting daily. In the eyes of surrounding merchants, Lu Qing was just an honest, skilled artifact refiner. However, they did not know that this supposedly honest shop owner, who went out daily to purchase refining materials and wander around, had over the months almost fully understood the layout of Zhoutian City's outer city. No wonder it's the stronghold of the Gongsu family. Even the outer city of Zhoutian City boasts numerous experts and countless powerful beings. At night, within his refining shop, Lu Qing silently marveled. Over these months, he had already thoroughly explored the outer city of Zhoutian City. This understanding was not merely the clear mapping of streets and buildings, but included the distribution of powers and the layout of arrays throughout the outer city. With no choice, having superpowers makes logic non-negotiable. Most of the time, Lu Qing didn't need to inquire from others. Just a glance would allow him to read an abundance of information, without anyone detecting it. Lu Qing opened his palm, revealing a ball of light, enveloping a virtual city. On closer inspection, one would find that it was indeed Zhoutian City's Emoyang. It was Zhoutian City's model constructed by Lu Qing using illusion techniques and mana. However, this virtual Zhoutian City, besides the lifelike buildings, also contained many array patterns. Over the months, Lu Qing used his powerful divine soul-sensing ability and the peculiar capability of his superpower to download and simulate the array of Zhou Tian City's outer city piece by piece. Then he thoroughly absorbed it and reproduced it using illusion techniques. It could be said that currently Lu Qing's understanding of the outer city arrays of Zhou Tian City was greater than that of most direct lineage members of the Gongsu family. Unfortunately, the inner city arrays of Zhou Tian City seem to form a separate system and are centralized, unable to be understood merely through the outer city arrays. During these days, Lu Qing had mostly wandered the outer city, without approaching the inner city. It seems that he needs to get even closer. However, now that I have thoroughly comprehended the array of the outer city, I can even, in necessary moments, utilize the power of the array. It shouldn't be that easy to be discovered when approaching the inner city. The people of the Gongsu family would never expect that there could be such a devil in the world. Someone who could, with just a few glances, grasp the complete details of the city protection array that they had managed for generations. So they would not guard against anyone coming to research their inner city's clan suppression array. Saying it and doing it, Lu Qing immediately activated the array of the shop, pretending to rest to avoid any sudden interruption from outsiders. He then stealthily left, concealing his aura, and quickly made his way toward the inner city, moving through the shadows. With the perfect Golden Core's formless and shapeless ability, plus his thorough understanding of the outer city's array, Lu Qing now navigated the outer city with ease. He could even perfectly integrate his aura with the fluctuations of the outer city's array, making it almost impossible for anyone to detect his presence. As he ventured further inside, it didn't take long for Lu Qing to reach the position near the outer city. Looking at the towering inner city walls exuding a terrifying aura, etched with ancient patterns, Lu Qing did not move closer because he knew proceeding further would trigger the array's response, alarming the people in the city. He found a good spot, hiding his figure while ensuring he had a clear view of the city walls. Then, he activated superpower, observing those ancient patterns intently. For a long time, after seeing the information appearing in his vision, Lu Qing's eyes revealed a trace of joy. Looking at the hints in the notes, he didn't hesitate and chose to download immediately. After a while, when the superpower indicated the download completion, he chose to simulate. Simulation complete. Start learning? This time, however, Lu Qing did not choose to learn immediately. Instead, he quietly retreated, slipping back into the outer city. Before long, without alerting anyone, he returned to his artifact refining shop. Entering the quiet room where he usually practiced, Lu Qing once again activated the superpower and chose to study. In the next moment, a vast amount of information about the array inside Zhou Tian City surged from deep within his mind, plunging Lu Qing into a state of sudden enlightenment. After a long time, when he opened his eyes again and woke from the state of comprehension, his gaze carried both joy and regret. This inner-city big array in Zhou Tian City truly deserves to be the Gongsu family's clan suppression array, exquisitely beyond any array I have comprehended before. Unfortunately, the information downloaded this time is only part of the entire inner city's array. Lu Qing was delighted because the exquisiteness of this inner city protection array exceeded his expectations. This time's gains have significantly deepened his foundation in the path of arrays. The pity, however, is that the big array information he downloaded this time is not the complete inner city protection array. The reason is that this clan suppression array of the Gongshu family is not a single array. It is a massive array, highly complex, formed by combining many small and medium-sized arrays. Lu Qing downloaded only part of the array information from the ancient runes on that section of the city wall. It seems that replicating this array will take a while longer. Lu Qing did not feel discouraged. On the contrary, he was somewhat excited. He had a premonition that once he downloaded and comprehended the entire clan suppression array of the Gongsu family, his achievements in the path of arrays would significantly increase. In the days that followed, Lu Qing continued to play the role of an honest and simple artifact refining shop owner during the day, while stealthily venturing out at night continuously downloading information on the clan suppression array of the Gongsu family from the walls of the inner city. In this constant process of downloading, simulating, and comprehending, Lu Qing's accomplishments in the path of arrays advanced rapidly, faintly showing signs of becoming a true array master. After all, this is a profound array foundation of one of the 36 upper families, containing the painstaking efforts of countless array masters within the Gongsu family over countless generations. Now being absorbed and incorporated by Lu Qing alone, how could his achievements in arrays not increase swiftly? And so, over a month passed. On this night, Lu Qing was quietly comprehending in the quiet room. When the sky began to brighten slightly, he suddenly opened his eyes. With his hand open, a virtual Zhou Tian city reappeared in his palm. Compared to a month ago, however, the array patterns of this virtual Zhou Tian city were much more complete, covering about 60 to 70% of Zhou Tian city. What a pity! A month's downloading and simulation only reproduced the array information contained on the entire inner city's walls to about 70% of the entire circulation star array. Lu Qing looked at the virtual Zhou Tian city in his hand and shook his head with some regret. Now he had comprehended 70% of the array of Zhou Tian city. The most core 30% of the array is still beyond reach due to the obstruction of the inner city walls, inaccessible and undownloadable. However, 70% of the array is enough for me to do a lot of things. Moreover, with other gains from this past month, completing the assassination is no longer a problem. Even though comprehending the clan suppression array of the Gongsu family brought immense benefits, Lu Qing did not forget his true purpose for infiltrating Zhou Tian city. Over the past few months, he has also been finding ways to investigate information about Gong Shulian and Xiaorong, gaining substantial insights. Coupled with his understanding of the arrays of Zhou Tian city, the likelihood of assassinating these two persons has become significantly higher. It is said that since Gong Shuyu died, Xiaorong has rarely appeared, either because she fears the Nangong family's revenge or for other reasons. Basically, she stays within the inner city and seldom comes out. But Gong Shulian is different. Having exhausted his potential, he sees no more advancement possible in the path of cultivation, so he turns to indulgence. This person, being a direct lineage of the Gongshu family and also a primordial spirit ancestor, can be said to be running rampant in Zhou Tian city. It's rumored that every half-year, he visits the largest brothel in the outer city, Mengyun Lu, and indulges in excesses, taking over the entire establishment for his pleasure. This man's nature is violent. Each time he finishes indulging, many women at Mengyun Lu are brutalized to death by him, making him a dreaded name. And the next time Gong Shulian comes out is in 3 days. Otherworldly expressions emerged in Lu Qing's eyes as he recalled the information he had gathered over the past few months, turning colder. Upon arriving at Zhou Tian city, he now understood why Gong Shulian had been marked for assassination. This person has committed countless evils, causing the death of numerous women over the years. Therefore, it's natural that discontent brewed among people. Even if nobody dared retaliate directly due to the Gongsu family's overwhelming influence. But secretly commissioning assassination tasks through the Netherworld Palace is unstoppable. After all, in the heavenly origin great world, no force dared to compel the Netherworld Palace into revealing the identities of their employers. For someone like Gong Shulian, Lu Qing had no psychological burden in going through an assassination. Regardless of his grudges with the Gongsu family, the crimes committed by this person were enough to warrant his death 10 times over. 3 days later then, Lu Qing murmured softly, then closed his eyes and continued to comprehend the array. Although the inner city's circulation star array's core 30% array information is temporarily out of reach, the 70% array he comprehended and downloaded these days greatly enhanced his array foundation. Now, he was only a step away from the Grandmaster realm, where one could make the unreal real and create an array in a single thought. 3 days later will be the best day to assassinate Gong Shulian. Although confident in his strength, gaining more power beforehand increased his odds of success. Time passed quickly, and the 3 days went by in the blink of an eye. On this morning, Lu Qing hung the resting sign on the door of his shop. Senior Lu, Taking a break today too? Seeing Lu Qing hanging up a sign saying the store was closed for a break, the owner of an elixir pharmacy across the street asked with a smile. Yes, after working hard for a month, it's time for a rest, Lu Qing replied with a smile. This time in Zhoutian City, he was using the alias Lu and, "You have quite the perspective, Senior Lu. We wouldn't dare take a break. The rent taxes in Zhoutian City aren't cheap," the elixir shop owner said helplessly. At the same time, he felt some envy towards Lu Qing. Although he hadn't been in business here for long, his business had gradually improved over the past few months and was almost about to surpass his own store that had been operating for over a decade. But fortunately, since the other party only sold magical treasures and magic artifacts, there was no conflict with him. On the contrary, due to the increased customer flow, his elixir pharmacy also benefited a bit and business improved as well. No matter how busy you are, you must balance work and rest. I'm heading out now. Keep busy. Looking at Lu Qing's departing figure, the elixir shop owner could only gaze with envy but wasn't surprised. This artifact refiner, who has been here for nearly 6 months, always closed the store to rest on the 15th of every month, a habit everyone had gotten used to. After leaving his small shop, Lu Qing wandered aimlessly, stopping to taste any delicious food he came across. By around noon, he entered a secluded corner and changed his appearance before emerging again. With his current knowledge of the outer city of Zhoutian City, no one could detect anything amiss. After changing his appearance, Lu Qing headed toward Mengyun Tower. Not long after, looking at the luxurious and lavish Mengyun Tower, Lu Qing didn't go inside but instead entered a tavern opposite it. He took a window seat upstairs, ordered a table of food and slowly started eating. As for the Mengyun Tower opposite, it had lost its usual liveliness and turned quiet. An oppressive and anxious atmosphere emanated from within. Those aristocratic children and golden core cultivators who usually liked to indulge inside didn't dare to show up. Even the few streets nearby were eerily silent. No one dared to speak loudly. Everyone knew that today was the biannual day of that Gongsu family ancestor's outing. That ancestor despised anyone disrupting his revelry with noise, and those who tried met a very tragic end. Those who witnessed it back then still felt a chill in their hearts when they recalled the scene. Though they dared not make noise, many were still paying attention to the developments on this side. On the level of the tavern where Lu Qing was, a few bystanders were whispering excitedly among themselves. "How many women do you think that Gongsu ancestor will play to death this time? I heard the Mengyun Tower prepared a lot of good stock in advance for the ancestor's enjoyment. No doubt, they must be top-notch beauties. I also heard there's a golden core realm furnace. They really are going all out at Mengyun Tower. Of course, why else would Mengyun Tower be the #1 brothel in Zhoutian City if not for the ancestor's backing? Otherwise, it would have been swallowed up long ago. They must cling to this support at all costs. Over the years, that Gongsu ancestor must have played with over 1,000 women, right? Probably even more, given how many years it's been. I heard the ancestor doesn't allow women he's been with to be tainted by others, so after he's done, he personally drains them all. Not sure if it's true. Anyway, I've never heard of anyone surviving it." Their whispered discussions didn't escape Lu Qing's nearby perception. Nonetheless, his expression didn't change. He continued eating and drinking, leisurely enjoying his meal. And so, time passed by slowly as Lu Qing ate and drank. About an hour later, when he had nearly finished the table's worth of food he ordered, suddenly, a powerful and violent aura descended, plunging the entire street into dead silence. In an instant, everyone held their breath, not daring to make any noise. They all knew that the Gongsu family's ancestor had arrived. Lu Qing placed his chopsticks aside and looked toward the end of the street. He saw a massive chariot, drawn by 8 mutant beasts, slowly approaching. An imposing elderly man in a purple robe sat sternly on it, flanked by several beautiful women on either side. The 8 mutant beasts alone were all at the Golden Core realm, and even the beautiful women possessed extraordinary cultivation, all of them at least mid-Golden Core realm. Those familiar with the Gongsu family would know that these women were all concubines of that Gongsu ancestor. Lu Qing observed the scene quietly, activating his superpower. The chariot drove all the way, finally stopping before Mengyun Tower. "Oh, ancestor, you finally arrived. You've kept us waiting anxiously," a coquettish voice called out from within Mengyun Tower. Following that, a middle-aged woman, heavily made up, twisted her waist seductively and walked out, whining to the old man. Her voice was alluring, causing the heart and spirit of almost everyone nearby to be captivated. Some even wore an expression of stupefaction, their heart and spirit seemingly entirely ensnared by her. Only a few with profound cultivation eyed the middle-aged woman warily, deeply wary of her charming skill's potency. "Is everything I asked for prepared?" The purple-robed elder paid no attention to the seductive charms of the middle-aged woman, asking directly and coldly. The middle-aged woman trembled inwardly, not daring to act casually, and replied with great respect. "Reporting to the ancestor, I have long prepared 18 Foundation Establishment Realm female slaves and 3 Golden Core Realm beauties, all waiting for you inside. Rest assured, ancestor, they are all virgins and have not been defiled. They are first-class furnaces." "Very well. If you satisfy me, I will continue to exempt your Dream Rhythm Pavilion from spiritual taxes this year." The purple-robed elder nodded slightly, a flash of brutality in his eyes, seemingly unable to contain himself any longer. "Thank you, ancestor." The middle-aged woman was overjoyed and immediately bowed down. Her joy was not just from being exempted from the spiritual tax, but because after the ancestor spoke, her Dream Rhythm Pavilion could maintain its position as the top brothel in Zhoutian City for another year. "You all wait here for me," the purple-robed elder instructed the few enchanting women beside him. "Yes, my lord." The enchanting women responded respectfully. The surrounding people, though internally tumultuous, dared not show it on their faces, all looking at this scene with awe. They didn't even dare let their gaze fall directly on the purple-robed elder, fearful of inciting his wrath. Except for Lu Qing. In the tavern, Lu Qing also watched the note information in his field of view. Gong Shulian, one of the ancestors of the direct lineage of the Gongshu family's 3rd branch. Cultivation. Primordial spirit, first tribulation peak. Due to the exhaustion of his own potential and more than half of his lifespan gone, with the decline of his spirit, he did not dare to forcibly transcend the 2nd primordial spirit tribulation and chose to abandon cultivation for pleasure. This person is notoriously brutal, enjoys abusing young women, and after completion, likes to use evil techniques to extract yin to replenish yang, draining the spirit of the women to make up for his own deficiency. In the past 30 years, the number of women tortured to death by him is not less than 1,000. As the lines of information surfaced in his view, the killing intent in Lu Qing's heart slowly began to rise. As this trace of killing intent spread, Gong Shulian, who was about to enter the Dream Rhythm Pavilion with the middle-aged woman, sensed it immediately, turned sharply, and looked toward the tavern across the way. Then he saw Lu Qing standing at the window, with eyes full of icy killing intent. Seeing the utterly unfamiliar face of Lu Qing, Gong Shulian was stunned. It wasn't just Lu Qing's youth, but the mere Golden Core Initial Realm aura he emanated. He never thought a mere Golden Core Initial Realm would dare show killing intent toward him. Was this kid courting death? Just as this inexplicable thought formed in Gong Shulian's mind, he saw the kid across from him suddenly smile at him. Then the whole person disappeared. Not good. With the disappearance of the kid, the purple-robed elder suddenly sensed an utmost dangerous aura rising from his heart. Without thinking, his primordial spirit power erupted instantly. Boom! The eruption of a primordial spirit great powers mana. How terrifying is it? Centered on the purple-robed elder, the violent mana instantly affected everything around. The nearby coach, along with the 8 mutant beasts and several enchanting women, were shattered in an instant without even time to scream. Had it not been for Zhoutian City being protected by an array, several nearby streets might have been completely obliterated. As for the middle-aged woman, nearly at the edge of stepping into the primordial spirit realm from Golden Core late stage. She too screamed and was flung out, slamming heavily against a wall. Ancestor! The middle-aged woman was utterly terrified, not understanding why the purple-robed elder suddenly flew into a rage. She didn't care to heal herself and looked toward the purple-robed elder, wanting to plead for mercy. Then, she saw an unforgettable scene. A plain-looking young man stood before the ancestor, holding a treasure sword. And the treasure sword in his hand was pointed at the ancestor's forehead. What was even more unbelievable was that the ancestor, who had just erupted with terrifying mana, stood there dazedly. Not only did he allow that audacious young man to point the sword edge at himself, but he also seemed devoid of any aura, unable to sense even the slightest vitality. Could it be the ancestor? A thought too incredible to believe arose in the middle-aged woman's mind. A furious voice exploded from within the inner city, echoing through the whole city. Audacious, daring to slaughter my Gongshu family's primordial spirit. Immediately following, a terrifying aura arose from within the inner city, speeding towards this location. Hearing the voice, Lu Qing did not hesitate in the slightest. First, he swung his treasure sword, decapitating Gong Shulian. After storing it away, he twisted his sword edge, removing the storage magical treasure from his body. Turning his form in a flash, he was before the middle-aged woman, pointing a finger at her forehead. No! The middle-aged woman's eyes widened suddenly, a great terror rising in her heart. But before she could plead for mercy, Lu Qing's sword point was already at her forehead. The sky-breaking sword chi, driven by Lu Qing's killing intent, was terrifying beyond measure. Even a first tribulation primordial spirit like Gong Shulian couldn't withstand his imminent sword chi, much less the middle-aged woman of the Golden Core realm. In but a moment, her divine soul was completely annihilated by Lu Qing's sword chi, utterly perishing. With a wave of his hand, Lu Qing collected her corpse as well, then transformed into a sword light, fleeing to a distant place, leaving behind only Gong Shulian's headless corpse and the chaos strewn across the street. Just less than 10 breaths after Lu Qing's departure, a figure emitting a terrifying aura descended before the Dream Rhythm Pavilion. Lao Qi, the figure, an elder in a black robe, looked at the shattered coach and Gong Shulian's headless corpse on the ground, his expression extremely grim. Grieving and angry, his heart was also secretly terrified. Even if Lao Qi was ill-behaved, having cultivated for so many years, he was still a primordial spirit first tribulation. But even the most inept first tribulation primordial spirit wasn't easy to provoke. Someone was able to instantly kill him in Zhoutian City. The person who did it, at what cultivation and realm could they be? A second tribulation primordial spirit couldn't possibly do this. Was it a third tribulation or a fourth tribulation primordial spirit? No matter who you are, daring to slaughter my Gongshu clan's primordial spirit in Zhoutian City, even a top primordial spirit must leave behind. The black-robed elder first took out a communication jade token, activated it, and infused a divine soul message. A token, when driven by the primordial spirit power, was thrown heavily toward the ground. The token, upon hitting the ground, did not shatter. Instead, it merged into the ground as if touching water. As the token entered the ground, a wave spread, activating the entire array of Zhoutian City's outer city, beginning its operation. A light curtain suddenly appeared, enveloping the whole of Zhoutian City. After finishing everything, the black-robed elder then pursued Lu Qing's departing trail. Despite his dread for the mysterious person who killed Lao Qi, the fact remains that the Gongshu family's direct lineage primordial spirit had been slaughtered in Zhoutian City. This was a naked humiliation to the Gongshu family. If they let him escape at this point, it would be an indelible shame upon the Gongshu family. Therefore, whatever the cost, he had to ensure this person was captured. After finishing everything, the black-robed elder then pursued Lu Qing's departing trail. Despite his dread for the mysterious person who killed Lao Qi, the fact remains that the Gongshu family's direct lineage primordial spirit had been slaughtered in Zhoutian City. This was a naked humiliation to the Gongshu family. If they let him escape at this point, it would be an indelible shame upon the Gongshu family. Therefore, whatever the cost, he had to ensure this person was captured. This was a naked humiliation to the Gongshu family. If they let him escape at this point, it would be an indelible shame upon the Gongshu family. Therefore, whatever the cost, he had to ensure this person was captured. What did you say? Lao Qi is dead. Indeed, Qi Lang's soul lamp has extinguished. Who dares to be so audacious? Leave the retreat immediately. We must capture him. Use his soul to honor Lao Qi. Upon hearing the words of the Black Robe Elder, those powerful entities immediately started to perceive. Realizing Gong Shulian's soul lamp had truly extinguished, their fury erupted instantly. Lao Qi had never managed to break through. His lifespan was running short, his spirit declining each year. To maintain his cultivation, he hadn't even separated his divine soul. With the soul lamp extinguished now, he was truly dead, with no chance for revival. The anger in the hearts of these primordial spirit great powers of the Gongshu family is imaginable. Immediately, numerous mighty auras awoke from the inner city, rising and heading towards the outer city. Such commotion naturally startled other powerful figures in Zhoutian City, especially in the outer city, where the strong forces affiliated with the Gongshu family were particularly shaken. What's happening? Why have the ancestors awoken from retreat? Someone is assassinating the family's primordial spirit great powers. Who could it be? The entire city protection array has been activated. Have they not caught the assassin yet? Let's head out quickly. If we assist the ancestors in capturing the assassin, it would at least be a great achievement. At once, many in the outer city within the primordial spirit realm began to act, aiming to help the ancestors capture the assassin. As for those in the Golden Core realm, they dared not act. Earlier, they had clearly heard the assassin killed a Gongshu family's primordial spirit ancestor. Facing such a terrifying presence, going as a Golden Core realm cultivator would be no different than a death sentence. Achievements are good, but one must have a life to claim them. Lao Si, we're almost there. Have you caught that thief yet? As the Gongshu family's stronghold, Zhoutian City is vast. Even the primordial spirit great powers couldn't traverse it in a short time. Otherwise, Lu Qing wouldn't have taken nearly half a year, even with a superpower, to understand the array situation here. From the moment Lu Qing killed Gong Shulian and escaped, to the Black Robe Elder's appearance, and then to him awakening the many ancestors of the inner city, only 20 to 30 breaths had passed. From the awakening of those Gongshu family's ancestors to now, less than 10 breaths had passed, not enough for them to arrive quickly. That fellow is extremely cunning, continuously using buildings to block my sight. But I've locked onto his aura. He won't escape. How is it possible? Hovering over Zhoutian City, the Black Robe Elder confidently replied. He could indeed be faster and catch up with the assassin, but considering the opponent killed Lao Qi in a flash, he was somewhat apprehensive. So he planned to wait for reinforcements to arrive, then capture him together. However, before he could finish his reply, his eyes suddenly widened with a gasp. His body accelerated swiftly, arriving in a surrounding region, primordial spirit power enveloping all around. Yet no matter how he searched, he couldn't find that faint aura anymore. Lao Si, what's wrong? Where's the assassin? At this moment, more than 10 figures suddenly descended, arriving beside the Black Robe Elder. Strange, I was certain I had locked onto the assassin's aura. Yet moments ago his aura suddenly vanished, unable to be sensed anymore. The Black Robe Elder's face showed discomfort. Vanished? Could he possibly have fled the city? A figure inquired. Impossible. I've already activated the city protection array. Without permission, no one could possibly escape. Moreover, I haven't felt any array fluctuations. Then he must still be within the city, perhaps concealing his aura using a magical treasure. Another elder with white hair and a youthful face coldly stated. Did he think hiding his aura with a treasure would let him escape? Lao Si, transmit the aura you sensed earlier from the assassin to us. Lao De, Lao Air, you and I shall together activate the array to search the entire outer city. Even if he uses a spiritual artifact to hide, he won't escape the circulation star array's search. Yes, Father. With unmatched powerful figures responding together. The Black Robe Elder first simulated an aura based on his earlier perception, transmitting it to his father and elder brothers. Shortly thereafter, under the lead of the white-haired youthful elder, 3 primordial spirit great powers cast spells, descending upon the ground beneath. In the next moment, the entire array of the outer city began to operate. The immense array power, ignoring any obstruction, commenced inch-by-inch search throughout the entire outer city. The first area searched was where the Black Robe Elder sensed the assassin's aura disappearance. Expectedly, they found nothing there. But the group was undeterred, continuing to search other places. Those strong figures of various forces in the outer city naturally felt the terrifying array fluctuations. Yet they dared not express any dissatisfaction, even cautiously remaining where they were, allowing the array fluctuations to sweep over them without resistance. Because they knew the Gongshu family's ancestors were searching for the assassin. If one isn't careful, and it's believed they have some connection with the assassin, they'd be truly unable to explain and doomed. Indeed, they've activated the circulation star array, while the Gongshu family's ancestors activated the array for search. In a hidden corner over 10 miles away, Lu Qing's figure slowly emerged. He could feel that the outer city part of the circulation star array had already begun to operate. Trying to use the circulation star array to find my location? A faint smile appeared on Lu Qing's face, his aura ethereal, already merged into the entire big array. Even if the power of the array swept over his body, there would be no reaction, treating him as part of the array. Now Lu Qing's understanding of this outer city formation even surpassed that of the Gongshu family's ancestors. Moreover, the perfect golden core is formless and shapeless, capable of transforming into any aura at any time. How could they possibly track his whereabouts? However, this is indeed an opportunity. Casually glancing at the dozen powerful figures in the sky, Lu Qing turned his gaze towards the direction of the inner city. The reason he acted so ostentatiously, killing Gong Shulian in the street, was to attract the attention of the Gongshu family's primordial spirit great powers in the inner city. Otherwise, he could have quietly assassinated Gong Shulian when he entered Dream Rhyme Tower for pleasure. With his current strength, this was entirely possible. Now, by deliberately causing a scene, he indeed infuriated the Gongshu family's ancestors, prompting them to mobilize. Presently, even if there are still experts in the inner city, there can't be many, making it the most vulnerable time. Lu Qing's figure moved silently. The abundance of buildings in Zhoutian City made it easy to obscure the views of the Gongshu family's ancestors. Besides, he had long since employed the invisibility secret technique, bending surrounding light to hide his form. As for primordial spirit sense, having fully integrated his aura into the circulation star array, Lu Qing was impossible to detect. Thus, Lu Qing transformed into a shadow, swiftly moving through the city, soon arriving at the inner city's location. Here, he was already quite distant from the dozen or so Gongshu family ancestors. Looking at the towering inner city walls and the array formation light screen emanating powerful fluctuations, Lu Qing didn't hesitate, transforming into a transparent shadow, flying forward. As his body touched the light screen, it was as if a droplet merged into the sea, causing no disturbance, silently passing through the screen into the inner city. For the past month, through continuous downloading, copying, and comprehension, Lu Qing had long mastered the defensive formations on these city walls. Entering them was as easy as pie. Inside the inner city, the scene differed sharply from the outer city. Instead of bustling buildings, there were spiritual peaks brimming with spiritual energy, nourished by drifting clouds and flying waterfalls, surrounded by spiritual cranes and birds. Each peak held many elegant buildings, resembling an immortal's secret realm. Viewed from the sky, one could see. These spiritual peaks were arranged in a pattern akin to celestial stars, according to a certain mysterious array position. Indeed, Lu Qing proceeded this way. He concealed his presence, silently hiding within a floating cloud, activating his superpower, observing the distribution of the peaks below. Given his expertise in arrays, he easily discerned that the distribution of spiritual peaks in the inner city mirrored the positions of the celestial bodies in the circulation. He had downloaded and comprehended 70% of Zhoutian City's arrays. The most crucial 30% likely resided within these mountain and peak formations. Activating his superpower, observing the mountainous formations below for a moment. When textual information appeared in his view, Lu Qing's heart warmed. Without hesitation, he chose to download immediately. Download complete. Initiate simulation. Seeing the information from his superpower, this time, Lu Qing temporarily opted against simulation. With time limited and the possibility of the dozen Gongshu family ancestors returning, he needed to act quickly. After all, having downloaded the formation, he could simulate and comprehend it later at his leisure. So after recognizing the terrain, he descended and headed in a particular direction. Over the past 6 months, Lu Qing hadn't just been comprehending formations. He had pinpointed Chao Rong's location. It's worth noting that the outer city hosts a substantial population. Among them, aside from various forces affiliated with the Gongshu family, most were members of the Gongshu family's collateral branches. The artifact refining shop Lu Qing operated allowed him some contact with these collateral disciples of the Gongshu family. With his strength combined with the mistaken divine skills, learning some inner city information from these people was naturally not difficult, which included the residence of Chao Rong. Peak of Quiet Shadows, it said that after Chao Rong's outburst, publicly placing a bounty on Nangong Yuanwu and severely injuring him, a conflict erupted between the Gongshu and Nangong families, almost leading to war. Only after mediation by the Holy Alliance did the Gongshu and Nangong families reluctantly reconcile. But afterward, Chao Rong was still punished. Even as the second house's direct-line wife, she was exiled to the Peak of Quiet Shadows for quiet recuperation, not allowed to leave without orders. Lu Qing recalled the information he had uncovered, his figure like a specter, quickly moving in the inner city, steadily approaching the Peak of Quiet Shadows. Soon, he arrived before a spiritual peak exuding a cold aura, smiling as he saw the 3 large, black characters inscribed on the mountainside. Coincidentally, a maid-like young girl was approaching from not far away, seemingly heading to the Peak of Quiet Shadows. Lu Qing's expression shifted slightly, and a divine soul fluctuation already landed in the young girl's forehead acupoint. As Lu Qing used an illusion technique to probe the maid's heart and spirit for information. In a house on the Mountain of Quiet Shadows, a luxuriously dressed middle-aged matron asked nervously, "Have you found out what happened? Why did the ancestors suddenly come out?" For a dozen primordial spirit ancestors to abruptly awaken and come out, it was unprecedented in a millennium. What significant event occurred? Could the demon clan be attacking? Reporting to Madame, this old servant just went to the ancestral temple to inquire. It was said that the 7th ancestor of the 3rd house, enshrined in the ancestral hall, had its soul lamp suddenly extinguished. Then the 4th ancestor became furious, shouted, "Dare to assassinate my Gongshu family's primordial spirit," and rushed to the outer city. Soon after, the other ancestors awakened en masse and rushed out to the outer city together. An elder, who looked like a steward, answered respectfully, surprise still visible on his face. He seemed still shocked at the information he had uncovered. The 7th ancestor was assassinated in the outer city. Have you confirmed this? Upon hearing this, the middle-aged matron stood up in shock. She had heard the previously resonant words from the 4th ancestor but didn't expect the victim to be a direct-line ancestor of their Gongshu family. Why was the 7th ancestor in the outer city? Oh yes, the old thing had a fondness for women. Every 6 months, he would visit those disreputable places in the outer city for pleasures, and today happened to be his day out. The middle-aged matron first couldn't believe it, but then realized the reason. No wonder the old folks awakened. They were always protecting that old thing. Now he's dead. Won't they be desperate? But it's a good death. That old thing should have died long ago. The middle-aged matron showed delight, seemingly very happy about Gong Shulian's death. However, the steward's expression drastically changed, quickly saying, "Madam, mind your words. If the ancestors hear of this, it will be trouble. What should I fear? I'm already exiled to this wretched place. Can it get any worse? Could they kill me? When I married into the Gong Shu family, Gong Shulian was already drooling at me. Now he's dead. How can I not be happy?" The middle-aged matron, unafraid, retorted fiercely. Since Yu Er's death and her relegation to the peak of quiet shadows, she had harbored deep resentment towards the Gong Shu family, wishing for its destruction. The steward stood by anxiously and helplessly, not daring to say more. "Did you find out who killed that old thing Gong Shulian?" The middle-aged matron continued to ask. "The old servant has not asked yet. He said the ancestors all came out in a hurry and didn't leave any words." The steward answered cautiously. To be able to infiltrate Zhoutian City and assassinate a primordial spirit great power, there are not many forces in the world with such capability, except for the three major forces of the Demon Domain, the Magic Domain, and the Netherworld Palace. And the most likely is the Netherworld Palace. After calming down, the middle-aged beautiful woman began to analyze. She had a profound experience with the energy of the Netherworld Palace. In the past, she had put a bounty on the assassination of Nangong family's Nangong Yuanwu, and later that old guy was nearly assassinated in Nangong family's territory, and it said he is still in a severely injured state until now. From that time on, the middle-aged beautiful woman deeply realized the terror of the Netherworld Palace. Now that Gong Shulian, that old thing, has been assassinated, the biggest possibility is that someone put a bounty on his life in the Netherworld Palace. Only the assassins from that place would have the ability to silently infiltrate Zhoutian City and carry out such an assassination. Unfortunately, she is now confined on the peak of quiet shadows, unable to go out, unable to interfere with the numerous former industries, and no longer has the ability to put out another bounty. Otherwise, she would definitely issue another assassination task to let Nangong Yuanwu, that old thing, die completely and avenge her Yu Er. Just as the middle-aged beautiful woman was harboring resentment in her heart, a voice suddenly rang out. "You have some insight, knowing it's the Netherworld Palace carrying out the assassination." "Who?" Hearing this unfamiliar voice, the middle-aged beautiful woman was greatly startled. The steward beside her turned pale even more, trying to shield the madam. However, just as his figure moved, he felt a surge of murderous sword chi attacking him. That sword intent was unparalleled in sharpness, as if it could slice through heaven and earth, utterly irresistible. The steward was shocked. His mana barely moved before sword chi pierced his forehead, obliterating his divine soul, completely falling. As for the middle-aged beautiful woman, she couldn't even see Lu Qing's face clearly before being collected into the leaving fire tripod. After sealing the middle-aged beautiful woman into the leaving fire tripod, Lu Qing then looked at the steward, whose eyes were dim and vitality extinguished. The reason for killing this person was because he had probed some information from the maid's divine soul at the foot of the mountain, knowing this was a guy undeserving of life. Thus he dealt with him in passing. After collecting the steward's body, Lu Qing did not leave immediately, but sent a thread of heart and spirit into the leaving fire tripod. When he had slain the steward, the surrounding space had already been sealed, with not a trace of breath leaking out, temporarily not attracting external attention. And this peak of quiet shadows, usually nobody comes, so it's considered a temporary safe place. Inside the leaving fire tripod, the middle-aged beautiful woman was trapped in a space cage, feeling the endless dark void around, her expression terrified. But quickly, her expression slowly calmed down again. As a direct lineage madam of the Gongsu family, although her cultivation was only in the mid-golden core stage, she was not lacking in insight. She already realized that she was now inside the space of a certain spiritual artifact. Indeed, worthy of the second house's direct lineage madam, it's somewhat resolute. Lu Qing's figure suddenly appeared in the void. Of course, the image he presented was not his true appearance, but rather wearing a black cloak and donning a ghost face mask. Since Sir caught me here instead of directly killing me, clearly there's a matter to discuss, so why should this madam panic? The middle-aged, beautiful woman's expression became calmer, looking at Lu Qing. Then guess, what is my purpose in bringing you here? Lu Qing asked with interest. If this madam guesses correctly, Sir should be the mysterious strong man who assassinated Gong Shulian, that old guy, right? Indeed, it's me. Lu Qing did not deny it. Sir assassinated Gong Shulian, your cultivation is incredibly deep, but those old guys in the Gongsu family are not easy to deal with either. Now they have activated the circulation star array. Even a seasoned primordial spirit great power finds it difficult to break out and leave. User infiltrating the inner city must be searching for a way out. Correct. The middle-aged, beautiful woman stared tightly at Lu Qing. Her face seemed calm, but she was actually extremely nervous. She never thought that this terrifying assassin could avoid the perception of so many ancestors and sneak into the inner city. Unfortunately, she was now trapped in the spiritual artifact space, unable to secretly convey messages even if she desired. Right now, she could only pray that her guess was correct, so that she would still be of some use to this mysterious assassin. So, can you help me? Lu Qing said lightly. Certainly, if Sir wants to leave, I can help you, the middle-aged, beautiful woman said without hesitation. No matter the possibility, she must preserve her life now. However, what she didn't expect was Lu Qing's eyes revealing an ambiguous expression. You are smart, but unfortunately, I am not here looking for a way out. I came specifically for you. Specifically for me? Upon hearing this, a surge of fear suddenly arose in the middle-aged, beautiful woman's heart. She was about to say something, but it was too late, as a divine soul fluctuation had already landed in her forehead acupoint. Instantly, infinite illusions began to engulf her. The time in the illusion space passed extremely fast. With only the golden core stage in the middle-aged beautiful woman's divine soul will, she was completely unable to resist the invasion of Lu Qing's illusion technique. So within less than 10 breaths, he already knew the information he wanted to find out. Retracting the illusion technique and suppressing the divine soul power of the middle-aged beautiful woman, Lu Qing still didn't kill her. The main reason was that this woman also left a soul lamp in the ancestral shrine of the Gongshu family. If she died, it would likely immediately attract the attention of the Gongshu family. Lu Qing had an important task to do. If he succeeded, he might not need to take on so many assassination missions in the future. Thinking about the information he just obtained from the divine soul of the middle-aged beautiful woman, a gleam of deep light appeared in Lu Qing's eyes. Then, without hesitation, his figure vanished again, blending into the surrounding aura, quickly sneaking in a certain direction. Relying on his skill of perfectly concealing his aura, and with the inner city being empty at the moment, Lu Qing soon arrived at his destination. Returning Star Peak. This is one of the largest spirit peaks in the inner city and is the residence of the direct lineage of the second branch of the Gongshu family. Qiao Rong, the middle-aged beautiful woman who was confined on the Peak of Quiet Shadows, used to live here before. Lu Qing came here with no other purpose, naturally for the treasure vault of the second branch of the Gongshu direct lineage. From Qiao Rong's divine soul memories, he learned that the Gongshu family's direct lineage is divided into 8 branches. Although most of the family's resources are controlled by the clan master, each direct lineage branch, in fact, has its own industries, and the second branch is no exception. Before Qiao Rong was confined to the Peak of Quiet Shadows, she not only managed many industries of the second branch. In her hands, she even had several private properties of her own exclusive ownership. For example, the Heavenly Mechanism Workshop in Kanglan City of the Little Tsong Realm was actually one of her private properties. Lu Qing also learned a very important piece of information from Qiao Rong's divine soul memories. That is, the income from the second branch's industries, aside from the majority being in the hands of her husband, the family head of the second branch, there is also a considerable portion stored in a treasure vault on returning Star Peak. And Lu Qing's purpose this trip is that treasure vault. Silently sneaking towards returning Star Peak, although as the residents of the second branch, the peak had many arrays set up. But these were no problem for Lu Qing, as he had long learned the locations and methods to get through these arrays from Qiao Rong's divine soul memories. Moreover, Chao Rong's husband, the family head of the second branch, was among those 10+ figures in the outer city. Therefore, Lu Qing now felt as if he was in an unguarded land on returning Star Peak, with no one discovering him. Soon, he arrived before the treasure vault and even dealt with the guards surrounding the treasure vault. After that, Lu Qing began to cast seal formations, which landed on the gate of the treasure vault. Instantly, the light of the array began to flicker. While Lu Qing was opening the treasure vault on the other side, above the outer city, the faces of the 10 or more Gongshu family ancestors were very ugly. Why can't we find him? Old Fourth, are you sure that before completely activating the circulation star array, the assassin was still in the city? The elder with crane hair and a young complexion asked in a deep voice. Of course, I am sure. The black-robed elder was very certain. Father, could it be that I would lie? Besides, after the assassin killed Lao Qi, I arrived in less than 10 breaths. In such a short time, he couldn't have escaped the city. But we've already searched the outer city 3 times, and we haven't found any trace of the assassin. Under the circulation star array's detection, even a primordial spirit great power who comprehends the space Tao should not be able to completely hide without leaving any clues. The elder with the crane hair and young complexion said sternly. The black-robed elder also fell silent. He really couldn't understand why, clearly sensing the assassin disappearing nearby, but now unable to find his hiding place. Where did that assassin hide? Could it be that his aura-concealing magical treasure is actually a high-grade spirit artifact? Father, there is one place we haven't searched. Another figure suddenly spoke. Where? The inner city, the figure said seriously. Could it be that the assassin took the opportunity to sneak into the inner city unnoticed? Impossible. The elder with crane hair and a young complexion stated decisively. When we left, we didn't sense any abnormalities in the inner city. After leaving, we immediately sealed the inner city completely, preventing anyone from entering or leaving. Tell me, how could the assassin break through the defenses of the circulation star array, right under our noses, and sneak into the inner city? The figure was speechless. He also knew that what he said was very unrealistic, but aside from this, he really couldn't think of any other possibilities for the assassin to disappear without a trace. The other figures were equally perplexed, not understanding where the problem lay. At the same time, their faces were extremely ugly. If they couldn't find the assassin, wouldn't it mean they couldn't avenge Lao Qi? If so, it would be an enormous disgrace for the Gongshu family. While the Gongshu family ancestors were thinking of countermeasures with unpleasant expressions, one of the figures suddenly shuddered, his face showing an angry look. Second brother, what's wrong? The elder with crane hair and a young complexion immediately noticed his change and asked. Nothing, it's nothing. The figure hesitated. Nothing? Your face wouldn't change like that without reason. So quickly and honestly tell me what happened. The elder with crane hair and a young complexion scolded sternly. Father, the array on the treasure vault in my residence has been opened by someone. It must be that vile woman causing trouble at this time. The family head of the second branch couldn't help but reveal the truth when he saw his father was angry. Your wife is causing trouble again. I've already told you to manage her better. Wait, wasn't she confined to the Peak of Quiet Shadows? How could she open the treasure vault? The elder with crane hair and a young complexion habitually scolded first but quickly realized the issue. It was like a bolt of lightning flashed through his mind, suddenly waking him up. Not good. That assassin may really be in the inner city. Let's hurry back. With that, he quickly flew back toward the inner city. The other figures only then understood the meaning in their father's words. Subconsciously, they followed their father towards the city, feeling a sense of absurdity. The assassin really infiltrated the inner city right under their noses. How on earth was this done? A group of them hurriedly rushed back towards the inner city, and at this moment, they felt that the circulation star array was more of a hindrance. Under the protection of the array, the space in Zhoutian City was incredibly stable. Even a primordial spirit great power proficient in spatial power couldn't explode with too much speed, nor could they use the space-shifting technique. Otherwise, their speed in returning to the inner city would be even faster. Damn it! Among them, the family head of the second branch was the most anxious. If the assassin triggered the treasure vault's array and destroyed the treasures inside, it would be a significant loss for him. We must race against time. On the other side, Lu Qing, who had already opened the treasure vault, immediately rushed in. He knew the array above the treasure vault was connected to the heart and spirit of the second branch family head. Once opened, it would inevitably alarm him. So the remaining time he had was very limited. Once he entered the treasure vault, he was met with a dazzling burst of treasure light. But at this time, Lu Qing didn't have the luxury to identify them one by one. He directly summoned the Leaving Fire tripod and the Chenquan Qi bag. With these two spiritual artifacts, he began absorbing wildly from the treasure vault. Many treasures within the treasure vault were originally protected by arrays, but how could they resist the power of the spiritual artifact's absorption? In an instant, a whirlwind surged within the treasure vault, and various treasures flew into the two spiritual artifacts. After several breaths, the large treasure vault was looted empty by Lu Qing. Not even a piece of wood was left. After completing all this, Lu Qing's figure transformed into a sword light, rapidly flying away. He could already sense more than 10 extremely powerful auras rapidly approaching this way. After Lu Qing collected all the treasures from the treasure vault, he immediately flew out. However, just as he emerged, he sensed more than a dozen extremely powerful auras had already entered the inner city and were flying towards him at high speed. They've returned quite quickly. Lu Qing chuckled softly, and then his aura changed again. His figure vanished, completely blending into the surrounding environment like a ghost, silently fleeing outward. Just as he left returning Star Peak, not even 3 breaths later, more than a dozen figures descended, their immense primordial spirit power surging forth, jointly sealing off the entire mountain. Where did he go? The primordial spirit sense of the Gongsu family ancestors was incredibly powerful, and they scanned every inch of returning Star Peak within a heartbeat. However, they did not find the person they were looking for. In front of the treasure vault was only a mess of half-unconscious guards. The treasure vault's door was completely open, and the array had been fully dismantled. Yet the assassin they expected was nowhere to be seen, having disappeared without a trace. No! The figure of the second family head rushed into the treasure vault, and upon seeing the completely empty vault, not even a single piece of wood left, he suddenly blacked out. Even though the most important treasures of the second family were under his control, there were still many treasures in this vault. The spirit stones alone accounted for more than half of their second family's inventory. Now that it was all taken at once, how could he not be furious and heartbroken? Father, that thief is definitely still in the inner city. We absolutely can't let him escape. The second family head rushed out, shouting to the elderly man with crane-white hair and a childlike face. Of course, if we really let him escape, where would the Gongsu family's honor be? The elderly man's face was equally grim. As the current clan master of the Gongsu family, a great power who had survived the 5 tribulations of the primordial spirit, when had he ever been so thoroughly mocked? Immediately, he took out an array plate the size of a millstone, carved with complex and ancient runes. Father, you're going to use the circulation array plate? Seeing this, the others were all shocked. It was evident that the array plate taken out by the elderly man with crane-white hair was quite extraordinary. That assassin's cultivation isn't weak, and it's obvious he has a powerful spiritual artifact that can fully hide his aura and conceal his whereabouts. Otherwise, it's impossible he evaded our primordial spirit sense. Without using the circulation array plate, it will be difficult to trace him, he said solemnly. But the old ancestors said that each use of the circulation array plate depletes the accumulated star power of the circulation array. It should not be used lightly unless it's a critical moment. Right now, it's indeed a very critical moment for the Gongsu family. If this assassin escapes, the family's reputation will be utterly ruined, and even our next family ranking might be affected. The white-haired elder spoke gravely. Hearing this, the others instantly trembled and stopped their objections. Family ranking is of utmost importance to the 36 upper families. It relates to a significant secret that cannot be overlooked. Seeing no further opposition, the white-haired elder immediately activated the array plate before him. As the array plate turned, a powerful wave spread outward. The inner city immediately underwent changes. Pillars of starlight shot up from the spirit peaks, connecting with the array formation light screen above. In an instant, the space within the inner city became dozens of times denser. The array formation light screen became extremely dense, its emanated power now formidable enough to intimidate even a powerful being who had endured multiple primordial spirit tribulations. After completing all this, the white-haired elder finally relaxed slightly. There was actually one more thing he hadn't mentioned. He suspected the assassin might have another spiritual artifact specifically for breaking formations. Otherwise, it was inexplicable how the opponent could break through the inner city's array formation light screen without alarming them and sneak inside. If that were truly the case, not using the circulation array plate would mean there'd be a real possibility of the assassin escaping. Should that happen, it would be an unimaginable blow to the Gongsu family's prestige. Now, by using the circulation array plate and depleting their foundations, they fully activated the power of the circulation star array, making the inner city as impregnable as a fortress. No matter if the assassin was a peer-level strongman or controlled a peculiar spiritual artifact capable of breaking formations, he couldn't escape quietly now. This way, they could slowly root him out. Sinking his heart and spirit into the array plate, the white-haired elder instantly sensed that the entire circulation star array was under his clear and precise control. In this consolidated state, he finally discovered a slight anomaly. He saw an incredibly faint aura, almost fully integrated with the array formation wave of the circulation star array, moving quickly outward, its position nearly reaching the inner city walls. "Thief, I've found you." In the eyes of the white-haired elder, a sharp light flared. Under his mental guidance, a star power from the overhead array formation light screen descended abruptly, crashing towards that aura. The descending star power was terrifyingly potent, matching a full-force attack from a second tribulation primordial spirit. This was because the white-haired elder was cautious, considering they were in the inner city and worried excessive power might cause irreversible damage, thus restraining most of the array's power. Otherwise, the fully activated circulation star array would have boasted far more than this level of power. Boom! The power of the stars fell, and the ground shook as the land within half a mile was shattered to pieces. Fortunately, this was already on the edge of the inner city. Otherwise, just this one attack could have affected countless members of the Gongsu family. A figure, somewhat battered, was shaken out. "Thief! Where do you think you're going?" The other ancestors of the Gongsu family naturally sensed this scene and were all invigorated. Their figures moved and they all rushed forward. The powerful might of the primordial spirit enveloped the area even before they arrived, aiming to suppress the assassin. As expected, I still couldn't fully hide it. In midair, Lu Qing smiled bitterly. The array within the inner city, he had only downloaded and hadn't had time to comprehend it. Thus, when his aura blended in, there was still a slight flaw, which he didn't expect to be noticed by the opponent. However, it's still not that easy to catch me. Facing the more than 10 figures exuding a terrifying aura, charging over like wolves and tigers, Lu Qing's eyes were calm. The operation of the leaving fire tripod blocked all the power outside his body, having no effect on him at all. The 5 spiritual pearls within his forehead acupoint, along with the divine soul talisman, glowed together, firmly guarding his divine soul to avoid being injured by the primordial spirit power. At this moment, Lu Qing no longer held anything back, and the golden core of mana within him operated at full capacity, unleashing his true strength. His figure transformed into a dazzling, tunneling light, flying away. Meanwhile, a green light flew out from the Chenkuan Qi bag and enveloped him. The boost from the wind element spiritual artifact further increased his speed, making him not much slower than the pursuing primordial spirit great powers behind him. This sudden burst from him left the more than 10 ancestors of the Gongsu family momentarily stunned. What golden core aura? This assassin is just in the golden core realm? Impossible! It was because of Lu Qing's golden core mana eruption that they discovered this extremely cunning and elusive assassin turned out to be just in the golden core realm. How could they accept this? And it was this moment of distraction that made them miss the last chance to capture Lu Qing. Originally, Lu Qing was not far from the inner city walls, and after being blasted by the star beam, he was even closer, just 100 feet away. Now, with his speed at full burst, in just an instant he reached the walls, heading towards the terrifying power radiating from the array formation light screen. Is this guy crazy? This thought suddenly flashed through the minds of the many ancestors of the Gongsu family when they saw this scene. The current circulation star array had been fully activated, and the light screen on the city walls had such overwhelming power that even they wouldn't dare to touch it lightly. This ghost face assassin exuding golden core aura, if he collided like this, even if he was a strong primordial spirit multiple tribulations figure, he would be shattered to pieces. Die for me! The elder with crane hair and rosy cheeks also saw this scene from afar. He guessed the opponent intended to use his exotic treasure to break the formation and escape. But how could he let him succeed? Immediately, he urged his mind, and the array formation light screen in front of Lu Qing shone brightly. In an instant, using the circulation array plate, he summoned the power of the big array, enhancing the array formation light screen in front of Lu Qing by several times. Even if your exotic treasure is a high-grade spirit artifact, don't think for a moment about breaking the formation and escaping. However, just when the elder with crane hair and rosy cheeks, along with the ancestors of the Gongsu family, thought Lu Qing was about to be physically crushed by the circulation star array, an unbelievable scene occurred. A spell flew out from the tunneling light that Lu Qing had turned into, flying ahead. That spell landed on the array formation light screen, surprisingly causing the entire light screen to pause for a moment. And it was this moment that allowed the tunneling light of Lu Qing to pass through the array formation light screen. The array light screen, capable of shattering multiple tribulations of primordial spirits, was like a non-existent hurdle, not causing him any harm. What? This scene caused all the ancestors of the Gongsu family to exclaim involuntarily, especially the elder with crane hair and rosy cheeks, who almost had his eyes pop out. Father! By this time, the more than 10 ancestors of the Gongsu family had reached the inner city walls. However, feeling the terrifying power of the array formation light screen, they dared not crash into it and had to shout loudly. Shut up! I know! The elder with crane hair and rosy cheeks face was solemn, and he immediately manipulated the circulation array plate to try to remove the array formation light screen. But a massive array like the circulation star array, once fully activated, is not easy to stop again. Even with the array plate as the array's key, it would take at least 10 or more breaths to possibly remove the array formation light screen. By that time, given the assassin's strength and cunning, he would probably have fled the city already. Thinking of these things, the face of the elder with crane hair and rosy cheeks turned even gloomier. He manipulated the circulation array plate, his powerful primordial spirit communication erupting through the power of the big array, suddenly reverberating throughout the city. Listen up, all primordial spirit realm in the outer city. Whoever can stop that tunneling light will be generously rewarded. Hearing this primordial spirit communication, everyone in the outer city froze. But a great power quickly reacted. At the same time, they saw a tunneling light flying quickly from the inner city direction. That's the clan leader ancestor's voice. Quick! Stop that tunneling light! We can't let him escape the city. Anyone who stops him will receive a reward from the clan leader ancestor. Immediately, in the outer city, several dozen strong primordial spirit auras erupted from various locations, soaring up, rushing towards the tunneling light created by Lu Qing, wanting to stop him. Those who block me shall die. Feeling those dozens of primordial spirit auras, Lu Qing's expression turned extremely serious. Although most of the primordial spirit realm affiliated with the Gongsu family in the outer city are only at the initial realm of the primordial spirit. But really being besieged by so many primordial spirits, even he would be overwhelmed. More importantly, if he were blocked now and those ancestors from the Gongsu family in the inner city rushed out, it would be real trouble then. Thinking of this, A fierce killing intent appeared on Lu Qing's face. A treasure sword appeared in his hand. But this time, he didn't use an ordinary treasure sword, but a spiritual artifact-level flying sword he obtained in a battle at Tianshu Divine Mountain. This spiritual artifact flying sword, after Lu Qing refined it, had long changed its appearance, making it difficult to ascertain its original origin. With the spirit sword in hand, Lu Qing's perfect golden core within his body began to operate at full power, while the boundless power of his physical body surged into the magic power golden core within him. After attaining the perfect golden core, Lu Qing possessed the ability to concentrate or disperse it at will, without form or appearance. He could integrate the magic power golden core into the physical body to enhance its strength. Similarly, he could transform the power of the physical body into mana to enhance the golden core's power. Lu Qing's physical body power was unimaginably terrifying. Having cultivated the undying heavenly witch body to the perfect realm of golden witch with the pure power of the physical body alone, he could effortlessly crush any golden core realm genius, fighting even the great powers of the initial primordial spirit realm. And now, aided by this immensely powerful physical body, the power of his magic power that had already reached the golden core 9 turns perfection, could completely rival the primordial spirit realm, and its power increased once more. Faintly, it even broke through a certain limit, undergoing some mysterious transformation. This transformation, however, was within Lu Qing's expectations, because this was essentially one of the transformations of the 10th turn of the perfect golden core skill, which he had deduced. It was only temporarily manifested in this way. Though it sounds complex, in reality all these changes occurred within an instant. In the moment of mana transformation, Lu Qing had already unleashed a sword strike. A dazzling sword light was slashed out by him, with the momentum of destroying heaven and earth, slaying everything in its path. A primordial spirit initial realm who had just risen into the sky, with excitement still in his eyes, didn't even have time to dodge before the sword light cleaved through him, freezing his body in midair. And as that sword light passed through his body, its remaining force continued, sweeping through 2 primordial spirit realm figures behind him. Under Lu Qing's full force eruption, the sky-breaking sword chi was simply unstoppable. It carried a true semblance of severing the heavens and earth, with an aura of annihilating everything. The 3 primordial spirit initial realm great powers didn't even have time to dodge before the sword chi swept through their bodies. In an instant, the 3 primordial spirit cultivators' bodies first stiffened. Then they all fell from the sky. Not only was the vitality chi within them completely extinguished and dissipated, but their physical bodies also shattered into 2 upon crashing into the buildings below, permeating the air with a bloodthirsty aura. This scene directly sent a violent shiver through the other primordial spirit great powers that were rushing forward, immediately stopping them in their tracks as they looked incredulously at the 3 fallen primordial spirit corpses below. Once they confirmed that they had truly perished, their faces were filled with terror as they looked at Lu Qing. 3 primordial spirit cultivators, slain with 1 sword. This mysterious figure, who escaped from the inner city and was personally ordered by the Gongsu family's ancestor to be stopped, was such a terrifying character. Even more importantly, the sword chi they just witnessed made them tremble from the depths of their hearts. That was the true breath of death. It meant that if it were them, encountering that sword would equally mean being slain with no possibility of survival. Under the overwhelming threat of death, for a moment, all the primordial spirit great powers from the outer city gazed at Lu Qing with extreme trepidation, not daring to move forward. "If you don't want to die, get out of my way." After slaying 3 primordial spirit cultivators with 1 sky-breaking sword chi, Lu Qing transformed into a streak of tunneling light and flew outward. This time, none of the primordial spirit great powers from the outer city dared to obstruct him. They were all awestruck and didn't dare to make any movements, watching Lu Qing fly out of the city with wide eyes. Damn it! These worthless idiots! Inside the inner city, the elder with crane hair and a child's face sensed this scene through the formation and was both shocked and furious. The shock was naturally due to the ruthless strength of that thief, who obviously had just a golden core body yet managed to slay 3 primordial spirit cultivators with one sword. The anger was directed at the primordial spirit cultivators of the outer city, who were so easily intimidated. They were simply useless. The dozen or so Gongsu family ancestors in front of the inner city walls were equally shocked and infuriated. Who could have imagined these cowards were so afraid of death? You worthless bunch! If you let him escape the city, I won't let you off. The elder with crane hair and a child's face let out a furious roar of his primordial spirit, urgently speeding up to open the array formation light screen on the inner city walls. Forcibly stopping the array's operation would damage the circulation star array, but at this moment he couldn't care less. Not good. The ancestor is angry. The outer city's primordial spirit cultivators, upon hearing this angry roar, became greatly fearful. They knew that there would be no way to explain themselves later if they didn't do something now. Immediately, all the primordial spirit great powers acted in unison again. But this time, they dared not get close to Lu Qing, and instead unleashed Taoist skills and magical treasures, bombarding towards Lu Qing. Not aiming for success, just hoping to stall him for a moment would be considered a mission accomplished. Humph! Courting death. Lu Qing's eyes were cold as he waved his hand, countless sword chi forming out of thin air, spreading in all directions. The sky-breaking sword chi was unparalleled in power, combined with the fact that the primordial spirit great powers held back, fearing to attract Lu Qing's attention to themselves. The numerous Taoist skills and magical treasures were scattered and repelled by the sword chi unleashed by Lu Qing, not posing a threat to him. However, they successfully slowed him down significantly. Lu Qing knew he couldn't delay any longer. Even though he still had cards up his sleeve, he didn't want to use them here. Immediately, he opened his palm, and a ball of light suddenly formed and rapidly expanded within a breath, enveloping all primordial spirit cultivators within dozens of miles around, revealing endless stars. What is this? All the primordial spirit great powers trapped within the Sword Dao domain were taken aback and became highly alert. Treasure light flashed on their bodies as each added layers of defense for themselves. Slash! Lu Qing whispered softly. The endless stardust transformed into countless sword lights, forming a sword array, crushing towards the primordial spirit cultivators within the Sword Dao domain. Not good. Everyone, join forces. Sensing the power emanating from the sword array formed by the stardust sword lights, the primordial spirit cultivators within the Sword Dao domain dared not be careless and directly united to resist the sword array. Despite having unleashed the 7-star sword array, Lu Qing didn't bother looking back, instantly tunneling away, continuing to fly out of the city. He knew that despite the numerous primordial spirit great powers, even the Sword Dao domain could only block them for a breath or two at most. It was impossible to truly trap and kill them. The reason he could slay those 3 primordial spirit cultivators earlier was largely due to catching them off guard. Now that these primordial spirit great powers were jointly adopting a defensive posture, even he found it difficult to overcome. But fortunately, his goal was merely to hold them off. A breath or two was more than enough for him. Transforming into sword light, he accelerated again, reaching utmost speed with no one left to obstruct him. By the time the primordial spirit cultivators within the Sword Dao domain broke out of the formation, all they saw was his distant silhouette. Useless. Useless. In the inner city, the elder with crane hair and a child's face was almost enraged to madness at this scene. Seeing Lu Qing's tunneling light grow ever distant, he couldn't spare anything else, spitting out a mouthful of primordial chi onto the circulation array plate. With a faint cracking sound, a finger-length crack appeared on the plate. The entire Zhoutian city, whether inner city or outer city's array formation light screen, shattered all at once, completely dissipating.